And we do have a agenda update, so we are going to amend the agenda one more time. Didn't realize the judge was here, and so we're going to move AB 2692, which used to be C, up to A, and then we'll move AB 2659, which was A, down to B. Does the clerk have that? Okay. I don't want to confuse you too much or something. Okay, so with that, we will go on to AB 2692, clerk staffing level.
Deputy Mayor and Council, I'm going to introduce this topic, and then we have some folks that can speak more directly about the details. So as you know, a couple months ago, we implemented the speed cameras, and to date have gone through with temporary staff an analysis of what the workload is actually going to be. And we have found that the workload is a bit heavier than we were expecting. So what we're asking for you to consider at an upcoming meeting is an increase in the budget from what is currently just over $61,000 to a total of $187,160. This would allow that team to bring on a permanent staff member and also extend their temporary part-time staff member through the end of the year to help out with some training. This transition, we're hoping, can start soon, but the main thing is that we want to remind folks, and we can get into details about how much revenue has come in, and we expect that the cost difference will be offset by the differential in the revenue that's coming in currently. With that, I want to obviously open up for questions from you, but want to get some further details from both Judge Curry and from Kim Kiona, who, you know, works in court, to provide some insights about what they're seeing from their workload. Judge and Kim. Does it feel a little weird speaking on that end of this?
For those who don't know me, I am Judge Curry, and I prefer the word John when we're not in court. So if I can you hear me?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said they couldn't. So just so you know, I have been the judge here since 2008, and this is not the court that I started with. It's a much more enhanced court. We have a lot more technology. We have a lot more to do. We have a much larger police department ground. The biggest things that are facing the court is this is an independent branch of the government, and I run it on one full-time employee, two part-time employee, and a part-time judge. This job that we have is changing. Not only with Ryan indicated that we implemented the new traffic system. Just I don't know if you've heard the numbers, but there was I counted the number of days, the school days that the camera was up. 36 school days. In that time period, there was 53. Gosh darn, I was going to get that glasses. It's 5,204 violations. The good news is, by the way, is that of that, only 2,307 were city reporting. 2,897 were out of the city. What that came out to, there was 36 school days the cameras were up. That's about 144 tickets a day of people speeding in our schools. Now, a lot of people are complaining about this camera. The other day, our calendar was 108 people on one calendar. I mean, the 108 people that we had to go through, we had to hear, and we had to impose infractions and let them go. That is a real lot of people for a staff this big. I'm here only 2 days a month. That's probably going to have to change at some point, not right now. We're going to see how we get to do this. But that is only part of the issue that we have. At the same time, I'm not sure if you guys are aware that the AOC, the administrative court, is changing their operating system. They have an operating system that was introduced, I think it was 1987, with 2 years after it became a law. You know, the technology in 1987 is very similar to what we have today. What they're trying to do with that system is give us a more centralized system, because we cannot pull up everybody's record immediately. We can't pull up their case history immediately. So a lot of people come to the court. I don't know if they have 600 DUI because they don't have it all in front of them. It's not the proper report. So that system they're using is going to centralize that. But what that system has also done is this cause a mass exodus in clerks. Many of the courts in the state of Washington are losing their clerks because of the implementation of the system specific. And Jim and Jody and Julie are finding out what it's like to start implementing that system. Now, Jody and Julie have not told me they're leaving. I'm not sure about this one. But that's good news because the continuity, of course, is also really important because as we all work together in the team, we all have some different duties, etc. It's awesome to have. But when we have the one person specifically, Jody specifically designated to these new flying tickets we have, we, like I said, our last count was 104. I think the next one is going to be closer to 150 on a calendar. But when we're working on those things, nobody, and I mean nobody can get the window addressing our clientele. And these people need to be addressed because, you know, the people that come in my courtroom, they're not there voluntarily. They're not saying, hey, give me a ticket. And so we want to keep those people. I treat the court as a bit of a community court because I want to look at a solution. I try to do my best to keep people out of jail. And the reason I keep them out of jail, first of all, it is a huge budget to keep putting people in jail. And secondly, it does no good because you keep getting the same thing over and over. So we're trying to look at other alternatives. We have a lot to do in the court. My staff, I think Julie and Jody here, not my staff, has to look at all the case files. They have to track those files to make sure people are complying with the court orders. They have to get people in. They have to get things out to 911 to make sure they're getting all the information on their sites. We have to get out orders to serve. We have to have a bail set. We have to have police officers go out to arrest. We have a huge job normally. Adding in a 36-day period of 5,204 tickets. That's a big deal. And that's not the only. We are also going to have, he's correct, the brand new police motorcycles, 70 citations. No citations we wouldn't have had. We used to have a police officer, I don't know if anybody remembers Schlossauer. He used to bring tickets in, and a couple of times we had calendars that exceeded 75 because a police officer on a motorcycle has a lot more access. They can see a lot more things. They get to one place where they're together. And they do. All those things, though, everything that happens and these kind of things, it impacts the goal. It impacts our ability to work. So we are asking for additional employees for that reason. It's not for a luxury. We don't have to have more time off or anything. We just want to have some time. I'm only here 2 days a week, but I'm a judge every day because I get messages from her, Julie and Jody, almost every day, letting people in, out of jail, putting people in jail, issue of warrants, all those kind of things. So we appreciate your help, and that's my school. Anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? Yes, sir.
So obviously, going to this, one of the big things is the new school zone tickets. It's obviously big, but there's other issues that you're entering into. And I know this is something we're going to discuss a little later with the completion of the bridge. Is that school zone camera system going to go away or be moved or anything like that? If it's taken away, that's going to drop the number of tickets you're going to get. Is these other things that you're talking about, the new implementation of these different things, is that staff going to still be needed to pick up those things also?
Yes, we do need more than we have.
Okay.
And I understand the one of the issues is that there's a crosswalk going to be removed. I want to remind people that that's not the real reason for school zone speed, because it's not for the kids that walk in the crosswalks. It's not for the kids that go over the overpass. It's for the kids that think that they can get there quicker and go across the road in a school zone area. That's within 300 feet of that crosswalk. I recommend not taking the crosswalk out because there's a lot of kids that are going to cross the street, whether that bridge is there or not. And it's best to have a place for them to cross. So the reality is it doesn't change. I have been here, like I said, 18 years, I'm doing my math correct. I have come into town during the school time, because by the time I have to get here, I've seen kids run right in front of my vehicle. I'm not going 20 miles an hour, I may not stop. That's what we have to look out for. And that's a reality. People want to look at this and say, yeah, the city's trying to make money. I
No.
think that it's a whole, I think it's an actual good thing because that whole zone where these kids are walking along the road, I forget where it's the neighborhood far into town, all the way in, they're walking along that road and I've seen kids cross over that name. Those are the kids working because they have a little more impulse, control issues than most of us have. I'm hoping. We have more than that. And that's the kids we're protecting. We're not protecting the kids that are willingly going into the crosswalk with the guard. We're not protecting the kids that are going over the overpass because those kids are getting well protected.
Right.
It's the kids that don't do that. The kids that lack impulse control. And the kids are going to be kids. And those must be protected. And that's the reason.
Yep. Good.
So that's
Thank
my opinion.
Councilmember Reed?
Maybe we should start asking our police officers to start issuing citations for jaywalking out there also then.
8-year-old pop.
But their parents will, and that might implement some issues that are going to get taken care of then. At my house, it would get taken care of. I'll guarantee it. They'll still pay the ticket.
Every time I
So-
come to consider the effect it's gonna have on their households and everything like DUI. What's going to be if I take this person out of the family for 6 months?
What would it do though if the kid got run over because the parent didn't, the parent, if the parent didn't explain to that kid, don't run across the street.
I listen to my.
Give the parent the ticket, then it'll change.
I'm not sure that it changed.
Yeah. Well, they better start. They brought the child in.
It's just my position on these, type of things are going, one of the most vulnerable parts for society is children. Children do not always do. I can't get adults to do what I want them to do. And I order them to when they're threatened or jail, and I can't get them to do what they want to do. We're gonna tell Johnny, of course, because that's what I was called. Johnny, don't go do this. The first thing that was a kid, I was gonna go do this, I was gonna go do that. So that's what kids do, and it's unfortunate, but it's a reality. Any other questions?
Councilmember Williams.
So the new system you're implementing so you can get the records faster?
I'm
Oh, you're not gonna do it?
no. See, it's making that infinite.
Okay, so what's that gonna cost us?
We don't know, because they're going to at some point, I think, require all parts to have over. But that's some hurdle we're gonna have to come at some point. I will tell you, that regardless of what it costs you, I think historically, we've had that issue over and over. It costs us more to hire a court like, the Pierce County, court. It's a lot more to hire them than it is to run a court fee. And you have more control.
So what's the time frame of this?
They don't even, but it's
Oh.
being implemented now, court by court by court. And it's happening right now. So, I have known the first judges from Olympia as just, not Olympia, sorry, it's, what's the one where Great Wolf Lodge is? It's, yeah, that Chehalis, the court, they're getting implemented, and he has had staff members already threatening to quit because it's so hard.
So you're gonna get what, a letter in the mail saying next week?
She knows this stuff. They're not supposed to, I understand that they're not supposed to teach the judge. We get to learn on our own.
Correct.
Yes, so that's the unfortunate part is I get to learn technology. Yeah, love it. Any other questions?
Councilmember Tracy.
So I see the timeline is immediate, and I assume that's with school coming back in session here in a few weeks. Is to get that person in here and acclimated. Is it a whole new person, or are you just gonna move the one person from part-time to full-time?
I think we have two, yeah, we need a whole new person. My 2 part-time employees want to be part-time.
Oh,
I would love for them to be full-time. One or the other would be full-time because the continuity, they know what they're doing now. Jody is brand new, but man, she is really good at what she's doing. She's got this, this whole made that if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am getting these tickets, 108 in a calendar. I wouldn't be able to get that done, but she was ready for her and Julie had all the forms out there. We ran through a lot of these pretty quickly. If it wasn't for that kind of work, this isn't gonna happen. What happens then, of course, is I was in the city of Orting, as maybe you guys don't know, I was the judge in the city of Orting before here in 2007. And I did on some calendars 175. In the city of Auburn. What did I say? Okay, city of Auburn. Anyway, we had 175 on most of my calendars. I was the commissioner there for a full year. Judge Burns did not like to do those tickets, so he made all those commissioners. It was awesome. But we still had thousands of tickets that we couldn't get to in the 120-day requirement. And so that's all this effort with all the cameras in the city of Auburn, a lot of it's getting thrown out because we couldn't address it before. A lot of these tickets. Still have enough to maintain it, but it happens. If you can't hit these tickets, it's not really worth doing. And you want us to get to those, and we're doing our best to do it.
So you're maintaining the 2 part-time and you want 1 other full-time added to that.
It is a full-time job.
Right.
Kind of takes, I'm stepping in and I'm cooking. So 80% of my job, I'm cooking. So if we have someone there at the window that's able to take care of these people, because, you know, we have great customer service and we want it to stay that. So what's happening is it's pulling the other clerks from what they're doing, and we're getting backlogged on our normal day-to-day stuff, as the school zone is taking up 80 to 85% of our day.
And we have a unique circumstance on Tuesday, that this court has the ability to have the administrator sitting out right there as the clerk during our court case. That's unique for most courts. Usually we have a clerk out there as an administrator to do all their job that she has. It's a tremendous job she has to take care of. But luckily, she does that, and she hasn't complained to me that I've heard.
Councilmember Holland?
So how long would it take you to get somebody on board, train, and ready to go?
Well, what Jody took, she was a real self-motivator, so it took a very short period of time for her to get going. So the hiring process is going to be the more difficult one, because out in Orting, we have a very small pool of people to draw from. Not everybody wants to drive out here. I love driving. It's awesome. I go to South Prairie.
Councilmember Reed?
But we started with the cameras from the school zone. Police chief said that they would pay for themselves. So why are we worried about hiring another person if the ticket?
I'm not charged the budget, so I can't even answer that
The
question.
budget was supposed to go only to the tickets. It wasn't supposed to go to the city coffers, but I understood. It was supposed to be, the only thing you could pay for with the money that was generated from those cameras was something to do with feeding.
I think our finance director wants to weigh in on this one.
That's correct. So the funding that we receive from the school zone tickets is restricted to funding for the time that the court is spending for those tickets. It's also spent on the camera costs themselves, so that we pay Nova Global for the cameras. And it's also can be used for the officers who are reviewing the tickets.
So now we need a person to carry tickets. So is money there to do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why are we?
Well,
So-
plus, we need to understand that any funds that are brought in and aren't expended by the police department, clerks, whoever, on those tickets, state takes 25% of it.
After 2 years.
Yeah, but they chop it right, yeah.
After 4
Yeah.
years.
Oh,
Is
4
it
years.
4 or 2?
Oh, I thought it was
4
2
years.
years when we talked. Okay.
So that's another thing to consider. We need to look at burning all that money up if we can.
Well, Well, and that's my question here, because the fiscal note says a portion of costs associated with this role will be billable to speed safety camera revenue. A portion, what portion? 100%, 50%, 25? I don't understand what a portion is, and I want that clarified.
It depends on how much of their time is spent on the cameras or spent on school zone cameras. So if they're not spending the majority of their time on the school zone cameras and they're helping in other aspects for the court, then the city would pay for that. But if they're spending the majority of their time on school zone related issues, then we would bill their entire time to that.
So it depends on, so the portion part is
Right.
their day, what portion of their day
That's right.
is
And they were
chargeable to
tracking
that? Okay,
They're tracking their time.
okay,
Jordan Park needs now are related to.
right.
And the one employee that was hired specifically for this can't do it on her own.
Right.
Julie is helping out, she can't
Right.
do that in her job, and she's helping out, can't do that in her job. I get calls on this stuff every day because people are saying this, people are saying that, and I get people on resolving it.
So it might be like an 80-20 thing, like 80% is on this portion and 20% maybe the city will have to.
Very little note on day-to-day stuff.
Right.
In fact, she enjoys her job, very linear thinker, she enjoys her job, very organized, very precise, it's awesome.
Okay,
Gary, we meet on a Tuesday, we don't even have a lunch anymore. It's a full day of court. And we're busy.
It's a weight loss program.
any other question, council? Councilmember Williams?
So what do we take this a study session or the next agenda or what?
So we're going to move this to the next regular council meeting, 26,
Standalone.
standalone,
Sure.
of course.
I did one really quick thing is that a lot of people think that the camera taper off, and recidivism is interesting, but it works for about 2 weeks. And I know this from the city of Auburn. So we think that it's going to taper off, but also the second part of it, in this city is unique because the majority of our traffic is out of towners.
Right.
So they are the ones that are going to keep doing it, and I think it's probably a good idea to keep those cameras there for them. So that's my 2 cents. Anybody else?
I got a question.
Yes.
So the state of Washington takes 25%, correct?
After 4 years.
What'd you say?
4 years.
After 4 years.
And what's left over after the expenditures?
Okay. All right. So in the future, are we going to be able to see that extra clerk that gets hired on will be paid for by these tickets?
I think that you will see it.
Is that what, will we see that in the future or to make up for?
We had quite a bit of funding in just the small time that that the school zone was actually open for actual tickets. So like the first month was just warnings. And then the tickets were like near the end of June, and we had roughly 152,000. Yeah. So 152,000, and it wasn't even a full month.
52,000 and it's 36 days, 36.
Yeah. So, we'll see, we'll have a better idea of like how much school zone infraction revenue we'll see. It probably somewhere in October, as we have a full month of September. We'll see if it's going to continue that same way or if it increases, decreases. But it's so new, and we didn't have them up very long before school ended.
Councilmember Reed?
So should we be looking for something that's a temporary position until we get it ironed out? You're saying it was a blast right at the beginning and it's just overwhelmed. So do we need to find out, like you said, maybe in another month or so, you know better?
Mention of person that is specifically for photo enforcement, so that person would stay on for the year. As only photo enforcement is the new position hired, however, that 1.5 is broken down, whether it's 2.75 or 0.5 full time. We would do whatever we could to the cameras, but even if that camera goes away, with the implementation, the increase in police officers, the motorcycles, court still needs additional help. And assistance you to get through their court cases and paperwork and all the processes that for especially too long. I mean, on our stretch, and staff going into this implementation. Hopefully. I'm sorry, I don't know that I answered your question, but if you want to repeat it.
I said, we're having a big rush right now because of the super number of tickets that came just when they turned the cameras on. So saying that we're gonna make a lot of money off those tickets is going into a fund that's supposed to be spent on police officers, equipment, and clerks for the court, or another judge maybe. I don't know, or another day.
So in this point, we have one position that's still converted, so that position can be, ended at the end of the term. If those
Okay. So how do we monitor that, whether it happens or doesn't happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and believe us, I understand it, that means if in fact you, at some point, we're not asking for it today, do have an extra judge day. I think that I understand what Ken has indicated would that would be covered by court staff being paid out there and her revenue.
Right. That's the way I understood it also.
Councilmember Hogan.
Thanks, Kim and Judge. We had this conversation over a year ago, on just you and I in a sidebar, and it's happening way more than you anticipated when we talked. So I totally see the need, especially now that we're going to be mandated by the state to be up and above the criteria, just like you told me about. So I don't have a problem with this. I mean, you guys have been running short for a long time already. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Very nice thing. Thank you guys for letting me speak there.
Thank you. Okay, on to AB 2659. This is the URA Resolution 2026-23. So the Unified Regional Approach to Homelessness in Pierce County is looking to build a consortium of Pierce County cities to find strategies to reduce homelessness in the county. So we had a Pierce County council member in here in June with Mary, who kind of runs the URA. They gave an overview of what's kind of happening. I think before that, I had given a overview of what was going on to the council. I've been doing this for, I don't know, a year and a half, something like that. 2.5 years. I lose track. So as they had mentioned, every city deals with homelessness in some way. We have it here, and I know when Councilmember Tracy and I sat on the Public Safety Committee, the chief would report every month how many homeless interactions or people with mental problems that they would run into. There was never a month that the count was 0. So, we have them here. Like they talked about when they came out, the percentage of students enrolled in the McKinney Vento program, and that's kind of like your food lunch program there at the school, 2.2%. So somewhere around 61% of the 61 students over there are on that. And usually it's homelessness, very, very poor. There's eligible eviction prevention applications were submitted to Pierce County in June 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025. Just from Ording, there was 5 people that were looking to get evicted from their homes that reached out to Pierce County to help with that. So currently, we do collect a 1/10 of 1% sales tax to provide for the homelessness. I believe, Tammy, you could probably help. That's 60-40 split somehow. 60% can be used on,
I think it's housing and mental health is 40.
housing is 40% and, oh, okay. All right. Well, I don't know if you heard the other council members. So 60% is on housing and the other 40% on mental health. So we have this, and I think in Tammy's memo that we got right now, so housing 110, Tammy, is that the dollars for this?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we have $361,823.29. That was previous balance. Current balance is $374,315.86. This is money that we've been collecting for about 3 years now.
Yeah, that's that'll be, I think it's 4 almost, because
Okay.
we figured 100,000 a year.
All right.
Did the city council levy that tax for that express purpose?
Yes.
It was mandated and we had the choice. Sorry, Deputy, can I speak?
I can answer that question. So Pierce County was going to levy this on every city if the city didn't have it in place. So rather than letting Pierce County decide where our money was spent, a special council meeting was set up. And that was before I was a council member, and I sat right over there and listened to that. I thought it was just another tax, but when I found out it was going to come anyway. So do you let that 100,000 go to Pierce County and they decide where to spend it? Or do we keep it within the city and we decide where to spend it? So at that time, the council that was in place, they decided we're going to decide where to spend the money. So we have not spent any money.
Right now, sitting.
It's right there in that account. That's where it goes, in that 110 under housing. And we had an ad hoc committee, and that's coming up later in this meeting, to look at that and make suggestions, and nothing was done about it. So what I'm asking is that we don't even spend any money at this point, because what will happen will be, if we decide to go into this, we will adopt this resolution that says we're going to work with Pierce County, and some of the cities will get to work well on the ILA. And I think if we become one of the first ones, we will be able to work on the ILA. So we'll have Dan sit with all the other attorneys and they'll hash all this stuff out between all the different cities in the county. So in our resolution that I am bringing forward, I want to bring everybody's attention to, and I brought this to the mayor, I think early this year, when we had the interim city council or city administrator. Section 4 of the resolution is what I really want the council to kind of look at, because it says this resolution does not authorize execution of a interlocal agreement, nor does it create binding legal or financial obligations for the city of Ording. So there is no financial. We are not here asking for any money, just that we participate with Pierce County on any homelessness that they may think that Ording can help with. So there were some other items under Section 3, looking at getting our severe weather shelters in sync and this type of stuff. And even that is different areas have different climates. You know, we're not all the same climate here. So it can still be drastic. So there are some dollars that I did provide in this. If you go down to page 223 in your packet, some URA expenses. So what they were looking at as far as, we're not going to set up a whole new homeless program. There's going to be like a director and a couple people. Those people will work with the nonprofits and the other entities throughout the county to streamline the homeless process. So we are not like Pierce County or like what you've read in LA. We're not going to set up a whole group of people and spend money to go after this. So it'll be like 3 individuals. So, pardon me? They're going to be hired, but they're going to be hired through Pierce County. So they will be Pierce County employees. So where we come into once, and again, the ILA hasn't even been started yet. So you kind of look at option 1, where Ording could pay maybe $3,000 a year. So as Councilmember Hogan mentioned earlier, we're getting close to about $100,000 a year in the sales tax. And what Pierce County is saying is like, to help us finance these 3 employees, our share might be in the first year like $3,000. So it's, you know, there's another option. And again, this is all tied to the ILA, you know, and the lawyers will figure this all out. There may be another option to where they just say it's just a flat $2,500, depending on the people. And then there's a third option that kind of combines the first and second. And again, that's all debatable on what the ILA comes out with. So basically, I'm just saying that this would provide the city of Ording to say, yes, we understand there are homelessness people within our city, and we want to work with Pierce County to help them. Again, last year when we were doing the public safety, we don't have anybody here. We used to have pardon me? Yeah, Recovery Cafe, thank you. And they could take, the police could take the people over there and they could get the resources. That's gone. So now the police have to call somebody in another jurisdiction, Puyallup, Fife, Tacoma, and say, can you take this person? And then drive them over there and drop them off. Sure.
So we do have to transport then? We take officers' time to transport these people, Chief? If push comes to shove. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So some of this cost is exactly, you know, will help to offset some of that. So that's all I'm asking, is that we as this council, this city, work with Pierce County on homelessness in the future. And so, okay, I'll open to questions. Councilmember Williams.
A couple things, looking at these estimates, first off, in 2027, the executive director salary would be 94,000, estimate only. And then jump up to 2031, it's 212,000. And then you get the program specialist in 2031, it's 182, and then program specialist 2, that's 172. So their budget jumped from 94,000 to 567,000.
Yeah, and if you read on the side note there, the executive director would be hired halfway through 2027. So that's only half of his budget. So that's why there's only 94,000. So,
Okay.
so it's,
My bigger concern with that is, and as long as we're not obligated to the dollar amount, we go from, on option number 1, from 3,700.
so let me be clear. These dollar figures mean nothing. Because that will be in the ILA, which would have to come back to this council to be approved. So right now, we are only approving the resolution. And the resolution says there is no cost. We are only going to participate with Pierce County. So if Pierce County calls the mayor and says, hey, mayor, can you do this? That'll give the mayor the authority to work with the Pierce County on a homeless project with the URA. So
So we're not obligating ourselves.
we
at
are
all.
not
That's
obligating,
all
and
I'm
again, that's why I
concerned.
wanted to bring up that section 4 of the resolution, that we are not obligated under any circumstances for any legal or financial obligations for the city. So, Councilmember Williams.
I'm good.
I mean, Tracy, sorry.
I'm glad you pointed that out. That's an important part of this whole thing. It's just something we need to be aware of. I mean, like any bureaucracy starts out with one person, and before you know it, they're a whole new government entity. And I understand, and these are all just estimates, but I could see this thing grow to be a monster.
And
And I'm wondering, I don't see Sumner in here. I don't see Buckley in here. I don't see Bonnie Lake in here. I don't know if this is, they just took some cities and did that, or if they're even being considered.
it's interesting that you brought that up, because in our last meeting that I attended in Tacoma, actually, the mayor of Bonnie Lake, Terry, he was there. He showed up because this was established back in 2024. There was, I forget how many cities were involved, and it was kind of a, come if you want to type thing. And then it's developed into this. So cities can join, and again, Terry found out about it, and he's like, I want to, find out more. And so he came down and listened to it. So, and I want to let the council know that at any time we can back out of this. And same thing with the ILA. If we sign the ILA, once it gets established, we as a council can always say, we're not going to do it anymore. So it's not a must do, and you're forever tied, your hands are tied. So just letting you.
Before any decision is made, it'll come back to the council to say yes, yeah, or nay on anything.
Yes.
It'll come back to us.
Right. So right now, we're just saying that, should they reach out to the city will work with the URA, and it hasn't even been stood up yet. So,
Right. That's just the mayor authority to talk to.
right. And have these discussions and whatnot. So that's all it's basically doing at this point. And then once an ILA is developed by all the cities and, all the attorneys in one room, and that'll take how long? That'll come to the council too. So Councilmember Torres,
So we're not going to be bound by any financial
none
No.
whatsoever.
whatsoever. Okay.
Right.
Because I was shocked at these, this executive director at 94,000, the year 227, and then the.
Again, that's
228.
all, they're saying that would be because he's married or brought in half of a year. It's not a full salary.
Okay.
But again, those were just estimates that were brought up to us that are on the URA elected leadership board that are kind of watching this thing. So it was just, these are estimates, and that's why I wanted to put the red verbiage on their estimate. So,
And then another thing is that they have ording as $2,500.
that's option 2. That's
Yeah,
based on,
Two.
option 2 is based on population.
Yeah. So.
So
we're-
again,
We're
that,
8,000, 8,500. Is that where we're at? Ording? Population. Huh? 9,000, okay.
Right.
So we're at the low end of this, between 5,000 and 29,000.
right. And that,
So-
again, those dollars will be in the ILA, which hasn't been developed yet.
Okay.
And that will have to come to council before that it gets approved. So,
Thank you.
any other questions? Councilmember Hogan.
Yeah, I think this is going in a good direction to help with issues we've had for years, and we've tried to, I mean, when the ad hoc committee worked hard and staff, and we couldn't get anybody outside, like Multicare says, oh, no, we don't want nothing to do with it. When we said, hey, we got 100,000 a year, what can we do with 40,000? See ya. And we had a guy come in, did a housing presentation and how these developers finance low-income housing and stuff. And he said, with what you have now, at that time, it was just a year and a half. He says, just sit on it and wait and see what comes up. Well, here's a real answer to part of our solution. And, as long as the money can only be spent for that. So as long as it's there, it's there. So let's use it, and hopefully we can, the problem's not going to get any less, and I think, we have a cycle where Ording sees a lot of homeless pass through, or people with greater needs. It's not only homelessness, but people with other needs, like you said. So I'd like to see it as a standalone on the 26th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Move it to a standalone on the 26th. All right. All right, and that takes us to,
The mayor has a question.
oh, the mayor has a question.
All agree on homelessness. They disagree on the solution to homelessness. That's, well, we can all kind of assess it. The concerns that they had was duplications of services with Pierce County, URA and Pierce County, and he answered the problem. So there was some questions on their parts, which I think you might see reflected in the cities who onboarded. So they're going through the same process that you're going through now. We determine if this is the route they'll or not. Many of the mayors were looking to Pierce County and to have centralized resources like Tacoma, Pierce County, where we could transport homelessness to. We would have greater resources to work with them. And the URA was, the spirit of that was to work with cities, between cities, to solve the homeless issues. So I think that there's a lot of questions, and all of you asked the right questions this evening. But so as far as the mayor's consensus with, there wasn't overwhelming support for any particular direction to address homelessness.
Thank you. Okay, we go to AB 26-99, emergency management.
This is AB 26-99. The approval of the hazard mitigation plan. The Federal Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 requires that for all disasters declared on or after November 1st of 2004, applicants who apply for subgrants following any disaster must have an approved hazard mitigation plan in accordance with federal law. All hazard mitigation plans, once approved by FEMA, are valid for 5 years, at which point they must be updated and re-adopted by their governing bodies. Maintaining an updated plan that has been adopted by the governing body underscores commitment of the city of Ording, emergency management plan, along with surrounding government agencies to reduce the risks posed by natural, man-made, and technological hazards. It also serves as a guide for decision makers as they commit resources to reducing the effects of hazards that are specific to our community. 2025 to 2030 Region 5 Hazard Mitigation Plan, along with the City of Ording's jurisdictional annex, have been completed and were approved by the state as well as FEMA. And that approval is contingent upon our governing body approving the hazard mitigation plan. Again, there's a base plan which the county is responsible for. The county was responsible for coordinating this whole effort. They were unable to get this done in time to meet the initial deadline, which means that we've been operating for about the past year out of compliance. Luckily, we don't have any grants currently that require us to have a current hazard mitigation plan. Otherwise, that would put our funding in jeopardy. But we don't currently. The county has now been able to submit our plan. That plan has gotten approved by the state. It's gotten approved by FEMA. It just now needs to be ratified by the council. I've included the Ording jurisdiction annex, which is the copy that's attached to the agenda bill, that 147-page document or so. The base plan, I'm happy to go over. It's just a short 500 and something odd pages, which is that link that's provided in the very first part of the agenda bill. But again, this is the plan that will survive the next 4 years now. It will be good until 2030, at which point we'll have to redo our jurisdictional annex from that point. And so we're requesting that the attached resolution be moved to either study session or standalone for approval. I'm happy to try to answer any questions.
Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Tracy, I don't know why.
So, who put this whole thing together?
This is a combined effort. Tim, our former emergency management coordinator, did a lot of the work. Hope, our current emergency management coordinator, kind of picked up where he left off. And then we worked with Public Works and the various department heads to get the information that was needed to update the jurisdiction line.
So this is something we're required to produce?
Correct.
Okay.
And we've had this completed, ready to go. It was just the county.
Right. Right. Okay, that's fine.
Any other questions? Councilmember Hogan. I got that name right.
Yeah. Well, you finally look down at this end of the table. No, thanks, Chief. I know it's a lot of work and I can't believe, so the county totally dropped the ball on us. Is that, because that's what I was reading. This is 2025 and I'm going, what? And then I see and I'd also noticed that we actually have staff updates in here added with our new staff members. So that was nice to see because I saw some old staff names and I'm going, oh boy. But no, so it's right on track. So I like to see it as a standalone on the 26th. What are we going to debate more of this?
No.
Unless you need to read the other 290,000 pages. Thanks.
Any other questions? Oh, okay, because I got a whole bunch.
We knew that.
Yeah, you know me. So one thing that really bugs me here is the $55,073,500 that is embedded in here for the city of Ording. But there's no cost associated with this. That's $55,073,500 is money that Ording is expected to spend on this. And I don't think that nothing is budgeted And it says here, it also serves as a guide for decision makers as they commit resources to reduce the effects. And that's basically what this money is going to, but it's $55,073.50. I mean, it's like, so I don't know if Tammy or the mayor can speak to that. No, because it talks about the evacuation bridge number 2, that we are going to support it for $55 million. So again, I read everything that comes across, and I read all of this last night, and it took me 6 hours to get through it all. And this is what I came up with is, if I support this, I'm supporting $55 million for bridge number 2 to go over the carbon. So,
Could you point out what page you're actually looking at there?
yeah, let me. Because it was way down, it was way down towards the end in section 7. And it's kind of what we are going to be doing. And there's a whole bunch of things that we are doing and the costs associated with each item, even to the, I think, 5,000 every occurrence for the Lahar drill. That was in there.
By no means is this a binding document. I think that this is just the estimate on what those costs projected in the future would run the city. Have had all those projects, or if all those projects were to be completed.
This is a non-binding, and so it's just, they gave the number of the cost of the bridge. It's not committing you to build that bridge.
But in the AB, it says we are committing, so that's why I have this heartburn between. It also serves as a guide for decision makers as they commit resources to reducing the effects of hazards to our community.
Plan. It gives you that as a tool to seek out grants to be able to fund that. And then when you show that in your hazard mitigation grant, you go out and pursue fundings to support those issues like the bridge. And that helped us in particular the first bridge. It's another thing that we could cite along with this interior transportation plan. It doesn't obligate you to spend the money, but it shows you if you were, this is about what it would cost. So if we were to pursue that, but it's in no way committing you to doing that project.
I think for council, in case you want to, it starts on about page 118 in your packet. Continued mitigation strategies, and kind of tells what's going on. And then the first one is planned maintenance on page 119. You know, there's $1,000 there for whatever that is. And then it continues to go on and on until you find that 55 million for the second bridge, 50,000 for evacuation rendezvous site equipment. We're going to put, I guess, food supplies and whatnot up at the quarry. So my question, another question, maybe not to you, but who's managing this thing for the city? So who's going to go after and do all this stuff? Because it says there needs to be a store, emergency supplies up there at the quarry. We don't have committees like we did before. So this would probably fall under something similar to like public safety before, that it would fall under them to bring back to the council and say, yeah, we need to go do this. So who's doing that now, Mayor? Who's managing this plan, or is this just a plan to check a box and then? Right.
There, and we are required by the county to have a low-hard evacuation plan, and we
Sure.
are required as mitigation.
Mhm.
So that is a requirement that we can't get out of. So we do have to address it, but it is being brought before you as a committee to all see it together. That, and make your own opinions. I mean, you know.
And again, I don't mean this is a binding document. This isn't us committing to actually complete these projects. It's more of a, we're required to identify ways to mitigate hazards within our community. And these are kind of like the wish list items or the ideas that have been brought forward to accomplish that. This document is a living document. It gets changed. It's constantly updated. Every 5 years it gets updated. And if those solutions, or those ideas change, those can be modified or removed. But in a perfect world, if we could afford everything, these are the steps that would be taken to mitigate this.
Well, I totally agree with this, the whole thing. And I think having temporary shelters and emergency supplies off-site, great. But, so again, is it up to the council to move ahead on this? Or is this something, because most of what I'm seeing now, and we'll probably discuss this later, most of these AB bills, the agenda bills are coming from staff, where before they came out of our committees and then were presented, right, from the committees, and then they were brought to study session.
You should make the same type of decision. But it is a council decision that's been taken away.
So the evacuation rendezvous site equipment, do we have an agenda bill for that that's coming from staff? That, are we going to look at this, or is this just, again, something that we're putting on paper to satisfy a check mark for FEMA that says,
This is part of a report of aspirations, but it's definitely not committing us to anything now. Now, as far as like, if we were to set up a site receiving site with the lot 40%, that would come before you as an agenda bill to
Right.
fund that to make that go forward. And that would be a separate process. This is just an aspiration of a plan of what we could be if this, as you pointed out.
I think it's a great plan, but I just don't want it to be a plan that just sits on the shelf somewhere. That's all. It's,
Honestly, the bridge has been in there since at least 2007, 2006. That's been there as an aspiration.
well, we got one done, but this one's talking about a bridge number 2 over the Carbon, and it
Needs funding, expenditures by the city to come to you as an AD bill. We had that opportunity. to
Okay.
send it forward.
all right, thank you. Councilmember Hogan.
Chief, don't we already have containers up there with supplies in there?
We do not.
It's always been planned though, is that correct?
Correct.
But we've never accomplished it.
Correct. We've actually gained a little bit of traction on that. Our emergency management coordinator has spoken with both the county about the Rock Quarry as well as the school district. The school district just entered into an MOU with the county directly between the two of them to actually put Connex up there to support the police operations for the school. And so there's been a little bit of movement there, but as far as us putting something as far as there, that's not happening.
Okay, I was misunderstood. I thought we had some stuff up there, so thank you.
Councilmember Tracy.
So we put this plan together to satisfy what the county or state or whoever's telling us we have to do this. And in this, we have all these things that we say, if funding was available, we'd do these things, putting a Connex up there or something, put something in it. Down the road, what Deputy Mayor said, putting this book is what it is on the shelf somewhere, and it sits there and then in 4 years we have to update it. So then we go through and see if there's any changes or anything. do you see in the future, and may or may have some input here too, that they come back and say, you know, you said about putting connexes up in the rock quarry and you haven't done anything about that. We're not going to approve this if you're not going to move forward or something, where they're forcing us into doing that just because we have it in place.
No.
Okay.
New document that's constantly changing, so the needs of the city change, or, you know, the city's financial situation changes. It's expected that this will change every 5 years. So if you compare this to the last version that we had, the 2020 version, it, you know, it's been modified to be brought up to date to reflect those changes. So I don't think the federal government's going to hold us to this. This isn't, it's not binding document.
So what this will do then is open us up for some federal grants possibly, or state grants or whatever, the grant program, and it doesn't necessarily, when we look at that and you see all that 55 million or whatever it is, we can probably all sit here and say that ain't happening. You know, we know we don't have the funds to do that. It's just pretty much putting it in writing so that we can say, we'd love to do this, but it still opens us up. By approving this, it opens us up for federal grants, mainly.
Not only grants, but for example, if we have an event, a flooding event that we had in 2025, and they declare us, you know, a federal emergency, that you can be refunded or get funds back. Those funds for emergencies require that you have a valid and approved hazard mitigation plan in place. If you don't, you won't be able to get those funds.
And it doesn't matter if you're, I guess, abiding by that plan.
No.
In other words, moving forward with stuff.
This plan is just for us to identify ways to mitigate those strategies. It's not complete all those.
Okay. Thank you.
TID grant application for the White Hawk extension. We were able to cite that it also had, we did our hazard mitigation plan, and we had a portion of that sidewalk dedicated to evacuation route to Rockport. So that was one of the things to help build our case going forward. So it was helpful to have us identify that we have a Lahar hazard. We were able to refer back to that. We're actually looking forward with solutions.
Councilmember Williams.
In regards to the 50 or 55 million, how was that figure tallied? I mean, was it just pulled out of the sky? And who did it?
Pretty much, it's pure estimate based on, you know, current and future project costs.
What kind of estimate? I mean, why not 25 million?
Yeah, in most of these cases, the project that was looked at, it was asked that the department director was consulted, and they were the ones that provided those numbers. And so public works projects were provided by city months ago or so.
Yeah, there are other solutions that have been proposed for that bridge to Holly's. Talked about more of a Bailey style bridge coming down the hillside. The original bridge designed by Berger Abam, it was approximately 27 million. So I can see where if you were to take and go over the cost of construction over a number of years, where you come up with that number. But again, it's just a number that resides there, but has no power until you actually take steps as a council to go forward with it. And then even then, the bridge over the river and up the hill would be county or federal funded, and most likely federal funded, if it were to ever happen. So,
Councilmember Hogan.
Yeah, I remember when it started out, it was 22 million last time, over 5 years ago. They said 40 million. So 55 sounds pretty decent. So, I mean, it's the way stuff grows.
So I've got one more question here. So the resolution before us today is in a draft copy. I think this is more for staff, not the chief, but there are going to be changes to this that we're going to see when this comes back to us in a regular meeting.
I can answer that. So what I did is I put this together. I just copied the last resolution we had from the 2020 approval of the hazard mitigation plan. And I changed it to the current date and our current plan here. Like it has yet to go through a legal review.
Okay.
But I would expect that it would be fairly close to this. But you would obviously be presented with a legal review.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, then we will, so we move this to study session on the 26th?
Could I offer one more thing here? The county offered if they, if you had additional questions or if you would like them to come out and explain or answer more questions regarding the base plan that they provided, they're happy to do that. So that is an option too to explore.
Yeah, those questions would be the other ones that I have, like, you know, are we still going to get the center lane down 162 as it talks about in here? You know, those questions are outside of this room because that's all WashDOT, and I haven't heard anything about whether that's still going, but here it is in the plan that, you know, so. Councilmember Hogan.
So if we get the agenda bill reviewed by the attorney and upgraded and we look at it over study session, can we bring it into the regular meeting for approval on the 26th?
That would be up to council to decide at the study session, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can amend any
Right.
agenda, so.
But I'm just, I mean, you know, that way,
No, our rules allow for that to happen. yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do because it says if we don't have it,
Yeah, it
You know how the
does
feds
say
are.
that it needs to be more immediate, so yeah, we can definitely entertain that on after the study session, moving it into regular council.
thank you.
Okay. And we're going to school zone discussion next. Didn't we already have this?
This is being brought forward more as an informational item here at this time. I'd like to start off by first saying that safety of our students are priority. That's been the driving factor for the school zone enforcement cameras to begin with. You know, this was born from a problem that we saw locally in town. We had a fatality collision in front of Safeway. We have had hundreds of complaints from crossing guards of speeding vehicles. We try to address this by setting out school zones. You know, problem stops while we're there, but then picks up, you know, immediately when we're out there. So this whole project was not born from any idea of trying to create revenue. And in addition, any revenue is restricted to so when the bridge project started, the school zone idea was not in the minds of council when this kind of went through. And so the plan at this point was to, when the bridge went up, to remove that crosswalk, which is currently at Blaine or across the 160. The way that we wrote our city ordinance when we implemented the school zone camera program was that you know, we had the removal of that crosswalk in mind, and we wanted to write it in a way that would affect the removal of the school zone once the crosswalk, the way that crosswalk taken out. And we accomplished that by creating there's a school zone which basically encompasses or protects a 300-foot range around a school crosswalk, or it can also be designated as a school walk zone. And so in our current ordinance, the council declared a 1 mile range around the school, elementary schools as a school walk zone. And so at this point, regardless if that crosswalk gets removed, the zone that's currently there, the cameras would stay in place because it was just referred to as the school in Watson. And so, the issue though, when thinking about this crosswalk coming out, is that in a perfect world, every kid would follow the direction of the school and the parents and use the new overpass. However, we know that that's not always the case, and so I'm pitching this to you today to kind of get some direction and we'll start a conversation about potentially leaving that crosswalk there. There's for multiple reasons. One is that we know some kids are going to try to go across the street. From its current location to that lane to the next closest crosswalk is about a quarter of a mile. It's quite a distance to walk. And anybody who's just wanting to cross between the two neighborhoods would have to walk all the way down to the overpass cross. And so this could be an option left in place to allow those folks to cross safely, especially folks that are not mobile or have mobility issues. In addition, yes, so essentially what I'm bringing to your attention today is the possibility of leaving that there as taking it away. It could create some issues with those kids that aren't following what the school's saying. And if they're already across the street and there's no safe place for them to cross, where they're wanting to cross, that could pose some problems or pose us problems still. So I just want to bring that to your attention and maybe get some direction on what you'd like to see happen with that crosswalk.
Councilmember Tracy.
So why are we even thinking of taking it out?
It's part of the bridge project. I spoke with JC and his understanding was that will automatically get taken out unless we say, hey, leave it in place. Because that was part of them.
Yeah. Oh. Didn't know that at the time. So that's, so in order to keep it there, we have to do something to change what the work order says or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I don't know if it would cause a change order. I hate saying these words, but
Yeah.
I don't want to have to on that rule, but I was just trying to prevent them from having to remove it and then having to put it back in. If you wanted to keep it, I just wanted to spark this conversation so we can say, hey, let's keep it there before it actually gets automatically removed.
So is it in the bid to remove it?
That's correct. It was actually installed for the bridge project. What I would suggest for council is that if it does remain, I would look at repurposing the flashing lights that were at the bridge where we had the crossing there, and maybe have some flashing lights or some other type of indication for people crossing at that point. When we had
There's flashing lights there now, isn't there?
They came from the old crosswalk.
I know, but they're there now. So there's flashing lights there now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking about the button. Okay, never mind. Then I'm filled out base. So you're good to go. Thanks. Sorry about that, Don.
Oh, that's all right.
Councilmember Hogan.
Okay.
Chief, we talked about someday that especially when we get the new school built, the elementary, that the school zone will probably run from Lane Road, where the crosswalk is, or where our cameras are, down to the Texaco, where the school zone starts at the north end of the school district.
Correct. So we are able to have that be one long school zone that's all one stretch and not break it into two separate areas, just because it has been designated as a school walk zone, and that 1 mile circle around the school is quite a large distance. And so that would be my recommendation moving forward, would be to do that, especially with the new school going in, because the highway would essentially cut a giant school campus into. And so that would be my recommendation, to keep the kids, the safest as they walk to and from home, especially with the trail running parallel and then the bicycles and high volume of pedestrian traffic.
Okay, great. And I'm sorry to kind of get us off track, but I was just thinking, and I would like to see the crosswalk stay at Lane because I could use it to go over and pick blackberries at my place.
Councilmember Reed.
Why would we spend $8 million on a bridge and then encourage people to use a damn crosswalk?
Like I said, we wouldn't be encouraging anything.
We are encouraging it.
My concern is the kids that are not going to listen and they're going to cross anyway, and or the folks who aren't school children who would like to cross somewhere other than having to walk down to the bridge.
I didn't measure off how far it is from that crosswalk to the bridge or from that crosswalk to the next crosswalk down.
It's 0.22 miles from Lane to the bridge, and it's 0.256 miles from Lane.
Not very far.
A quarter of a mile. It's quite a distance if you're not able to walk or you have mobility issues. That's quite a distance.
Councilmember Williams.
So the removal of the crosswalks in the contract, is that correct?
That's correct.
So if we didn't remove it, can we get a credit?
Should.
Amen. Yes,
Good question.
We should.
it is a good.
I can ask for it. So you bet. I'll ask for it and then report back.
Or we could
Well-
use it in trade, right? You know,
That would be nice.
if we got any outstanding balances or anything. Yeah, I thank you for, bringing up people with mobility issues, because they may not be able to get over that bridge very well. And
That bridge was designed for handicap.
yes, it is.
Okay.
But
$8 million.
people are people. So, me, I'm going to cross that lane. I'm not going to walk another quarter mile down to use the bridge. And as we've noticed, if I walk from the west side to the east side, thank you for letting me off right on 162 traffic. I don't know who designed that, and I still haven't asked that question, but
We know who did.
yeah. So yeah, there's some safety issues there that another council member pointed out. So yeah, so that bridge, there are a lot of people, and it wasn't built just for the kids. It was built for the whole community, but the whole community is not going to use that bridge. And there's old people like me that that's too many more steps to go up, over, down, over. It's like I can do very fast, just crossing lane, and there's bicycle traffic. And I think, I know you mentioned the death here, but wasn't there a girl hit on Halloween inside that flashing crossing walk and broke her leg? So, I mean, it's more than just school zone. Now, the one question I have, if we leave it there, is the school still going to put guards there, or does that?
Conversation I'll have to have with the school district. It's my understanding that generally what happens is they would designate their walk zones specifically for the kids to walk. That would not include the current crosswalk. It would direct kids to use the overpass, the new overpass. And then they would not have to man that anymore. However, it may be a recommendation to have them man that for the first, maybe month, so they can direct kids not to use the crosswalk there and point them to the bridge.
Good idea.
So they're using the bridge and get that muscle memory of them crossing.
Good.
Right.
That'd be a hard job trying to change their mind for the kids. They'll be fine you anyway. I did the crosswalks just like I'm like you're not gonna walk way down there.
Here's a note for you to take home to your parent, why you should be using the bridge. How much safer it is.
Let's go, council member Torres.
I hate to say this, that's a scary looking bridge. I wouldn't want to cross that bridge if I was a kid. So I'd take my chances crossing the road before I try crossing that bridge. That's my opinion.
Council member Tracy.
I think we're getting lost in all the kids and stuff. Seems to me this whole thing started out as an evacuation bridge. And now all of a sudden we're concentrating on getting the kids across the street. So removing that and trying to force them to go across that, I can see most kids for the first month, they'll probably run up and down that thing like no tomorrow. But after that, they're going to cross the easiest way to get across that road. And if we eliminate that other crosswalk, they're going to probably try to go across there too. And yeah, we could, go after the parents or something to do that, but that doesn't save a kid's life. So I think we need to really think what the bridge was originally designed for and get the kids across the road safely. And once they build the new elementary on that side of the road, that'll probably eliminate a whole bunch of them going across there anyway. Not that there's a whole bunch over there in the first place, but yeah, I think we need to hold it. And if it is in the contract's supposed to be up here, what, 18th of September or something like that? I don't remember the finish date. Of course, we got the holdup. If that's the case, we want to move this forward soon enough that we don't miss that time when they would eliminate it. Because if they're on contract for it, they're probably processing to do that.
Yeah, get on later, as soon as that's right.
Yeah.
We got one more and then the sidewalk is done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything further? Any other questions? All right. We'll go to AB 2697. Thank you, Chief. Oh, and we will take that to study session on the 26th. Correct? Standalone. Well,
Is it any action needed on this? You need this.
Well, just the study
Ju-
session.
Just whether, I think how about we have the mayor look into the contract, whether we can get a credit or not. And then maybe after that, we can bring this back to study session.
You bet. And and regardless of that, maybe we just initially stop. My main thing will be to stop the removal of the sidewalk, of the crosswalk, and then I'll attempt to get a credit for it.
Yeah, ask the question because I don't want the guy to come back and say, well, you're taking that out and that's a change order and it's going to cost you 2,000 for me not to do anything.
We probably should use that money to put the cyclone fence around the end of that.
You read the
Deal.
line. That'd be great. Yeah, that would be a good use of those funds. So,
It probably needs to be a 6 or 10-foot fence to keep the kids from climbing over it because that's what they'll try to do, right?
Okay. All right. AB 2697. What is this?
Thank
Water
you.
Resource Recovery Facility on-call engineer.
This is a lot. You're gonna talk about treatment plant. That's much more my zone anyway. So thank all of you guys, thank all of you for coming to the treatment plant and walking the facilities and then seeing what the needs are. I think we all agree, that we need to continue to move with urgency to get the work done. And so what we have is, we have an opportunity to go ahead and go forward with this, with Headworks, the on-site pump station, and upgrade the control room laboratory for future staffing, lab needs, and for the potential technology upgrades to technology servers. So what I'm looking for council this evening is direction. If you would like to go with this in-house with our on-call services, we could utilize what the work they've already done forward and continue to move with them and have them bring forward a scope of work and costs for you to continue their work. Parametrics has already looked at this project in depth. They understand it very well. They have work done on the on-site pump station, and we can move swiftly using the on-call services. But I wanted to give you the opportunity, if you're wanting to go through it this phase, you can go up an RFP and then go through that whole process of selection to find an engineering company to bid on the job and go forward. And the reason why it's kind of important is that we went out through Public Works, the Public Works funding for it. And we have a $10 million loan out on it, and they're expecting construction to happen in 2027, and we're looking at like an April to May start date for the construction to happen. So we are kind of under a little bit of a pressure on timelines going forward with that on the planning side. So I was looking for direction from council if you would like to have parametrics bring forward a scope of work for you to see and a cost to consider going forward with that, or if your intentions are to go out with for an RFP. If we go forward with, we don't, how can I put it? We don't want to compromise our bid process by having them come forward with a number and a scope of work cost. If they're gonna turn right around and compete with people that have seen their estimated cost to put on the job, so they would most likely be eliminated from that process. So at any rate, I'm looking to all of you, if you're okay going forward with having parametrics come forward with the scope of work, to continue the work to get those immediate upgrades that we need with the headworks, the on-site pump station, and the lab. So that's.
So I'm gonna start this off first. Sorry, guys. It looks like January 29th, February 4th, February 5th, we had AB 2619 in front of us. The city of Orleans will be issuing a request for qualifications in February, on-call professional engineering services. Was that ever done?
No, we went into some issues with the treatment plant, so we did interrupt that going forward. We could go forward with that though. Their contract expires here, I believe it's in 27. So that will be going out. We talked about doing that, and we didn't do it because of the situation we're in with the treatment plant.
And now we're under the gun again.
Well, because we went out for the financing, we got approved for the financing, and so we are acting on taking action to go forward. So you can go out for an RFP if you like, but I just want to make you aware of it and give you the choice of going forward with it. I personally feel comfortable with them bringing forward a scope of work and then utilizing some of the work they've already done to go forward, maybe help save us some money going forward. But it's ultimately a council decision on the direction you might take. So we'll bring it forward to see.
Cool. Councilmember Tracy.
So.
He had his hand up first.
I mean, don't we have a design for a whole new plant? And didn't that include the headworks and all this other stuff that we're talking about going for? So the design of the new plant did not have the dual inflow.
Wilson did not have that in the contract. They were just doing the solid side. And then they also did not do the onsite pump station.
The what?
The on-site pump station that controls the level of lagoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
So yeah, so no, that wasn't addressed. Parametrics had it in their engineering design, the on-plant pump station, but they didn't have the headworks in their engineering as well. So they addressed it as that it needs to be done, but it wasn't part of their engineering. So both companies stated and in the general sewer plan stated the headworks needs to be addressed, and that's the area that we're out of compliance currently with, or we're struggling with compliance with the Department of Ecology right now on that issue.
If both of them said that that was an area that needed to be talked about or need to be looked at, why did they not include that in their proposal to do it?
They were asked to do the engineering for a solids treatment plant and not a headworks. So that's what they bid on, the scope.
So that's what you're asking to move forward for, basically the headworks.
For headworks, yeah, headworks.
Because that's the only thing that they haven't done?
On-site station and the laboratory, the control building laboratory addition to allow for the improvements need to be made with building for their treatment process.
Okay.
Yeah, so and all I'm looking for this evening is a direction. If you'd like to have, if you feel that you'd like to utilize this through the on-call services and have them bring it forward to you with a scope of work for you to approve and scope of work and costs. They have that prepared, but if it's something that you're wanting to go out for a separate RFP for them to go out to bid, or for us to go out to bid for it, that's the other direction we take. So we have two directions. I'm just kind of looking for your thoughts and inputs on that going forward. It's probably the quickest route is to go on call and utilize those services
And I think that's what Deputy Mayor brought up back in January when we talked about that. It was the same thing that we keep coming up against. And where are we now? We're in August, almost September. And that's why it was brought up then, because we said we always refer to our on-call services, and we don't even know if our on-call services gives us the best deal. I don't think it was so much for each project. It was, we were looking to find engineering services and see who get qualifications for those services. And here we are again.
it's prepared. See, their contract is so good right now. We're showing our contract. I brought that to you after speaking to each of you to see the direction you'd like to go. So that could be there if that's the direction that you want to take. We stopped going forward with that just because of the work that we needed to require immediately at the treatment plant. I didn't go forward with it just because we were heavy into it with the paramedics trying to get this resolved.
Okay.
Councilmember Williams?
But I think it's two different issues. I don't see why we stopped on the RFQ because that's a request for qualifications for the future when Parametrics contract is up. And I still think we need to do that so that there's possibly some competition when their contract is up. So I think we should continue that. Now, the second part is what you're saying, and I guess we got to figure out whether we trust our on-site engineer enough to give us a good price just on call, or if we need to go out for a proposal.
Yeah, so you'd get a proposal from them. You'd get a scope of work proposal, but should they come before us and with a proposal with a dollar figure, then have to turn around and compete. It'll complicate things, but we have a choice, and I can bring it forward to you both ways, and we go out for an RFP and they can bid on the job like that. Like what you're talking about, can compete for it. But that's definitely there. I'm just giving you the choice now. The swiftest, quickest way is for us to go forward with on call, have them bring a scope of work and a proposal cost figure. That's the shortest route for us to get there. The route is to go with an RFP and let that process go forward from there. So I'm just looking for direction from all of you today.
So if we did go with an RFP, in your opinion, how soon would we be ready for construction?
That would put it out of the ways. So,
Well, what's a little ways?
Later, maybe, May, June, depending on who gets a contract type of thing. So ultimately, we'd want to be in construction by next summer, for sure.
Okay, but you think that's doable even with an RFP?
I would have to probably consult with some people on that, but it would be it would be a little bit more of a challenge, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Tracy?
So is it the timeline you're concerned with or the money?
More the timeline.
So, for instance, Wilson Engineering that's been doing the same thing, they could probably do it just as quick as Parametrics could do it, couldn't they? I mean, I'm just bringing that forward. Just
They actually haven't done any work on any of the items that are there. They haven't they have no engineering for the on-site pump station, and they would be starting from scratch on everything else as well.
Okay.
They've identified, they identified it in the capital improvement plan, but as far as engineering goes, I think everybody would be starting at ground zero.
Okay.
Councilmember Holland?
Well, if we go with parametrics, they already, you know, they know what we need. Excuse me, what we need, what the pump didn't work on and what not working done. And they get down with the details, we know what they're gonna do, so.
Councilmember Reed?
So by going to parametrics or Wilson Engineering, they're both only going to give us a cost estimate of what their estimate to do the work is. We still have to put it out for bid to a contractor.
Yeah, that's correct. But this would be just the engineering services. And then we go out for bid, so.
Anybody else? Councilmember Hogan?
So we got to catch 22. If we say, okay, give us your scope of work parametrics, and then we go, oh my goodness, we've jacked ourselves, because then somebody's going to see what they've.
The challenge, yeah. The challenge where he didn't feel comfortable bringing it forward, or I shouldn't say he, that it would.
Yeah.
Be, you're putting it out there, your numbers and everybody, it would compromise the competitive process. What a big deal.
So, but this right now, would just be the headworks as the main project, and the lab building, which we had a proposal from Wilson for 140K. Is that what that was? Do you remember?
No, their process was 40 million with, when they did the solids upgrade, they were gonna build a whole new building.
Right.
There, and it included parking for vehicles and laboratory and office space and a lot of things that were kind of outside of what we felt, what we needed for a basic process for the solids.
For at this time, so, okay. But I mean, they had a vision of something.
So, I mean, I've been doing procurement for over 50 years and doing sole sources like, just, if we've got an opportunity to do a competitive bid, I would say do it. I just, doing something like that, I just thought it just crashed so many times in previous endeavors where they hold your feet over a fire and they think they've got the upper hand on the negotiations and everything else, and we end up paying whatever they want. And I think in this case, my preference would be to go out for an RFP. Councilmember or Reed?
Lost my thought. I think I was waiting so long and listening. I think we're getting a little bit confused with the end cost, because all we're having either parametrics or Wilson Engineering do is draw us a picture and give their estimate of what the project's going to cost. How will that interfere with anything else?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
We're trying to decide whether to have Wilson Engineering or somebody else.
Yeah.
This,
What plan I was looking at was just that I didn't want to compromise the bid process by having parametrics come here first, disclose all of their numbers of what they're going to be bidding.
Right.
And then have the intention be ultimately to go out for bid anyway
okay.
for us. And so that's, I think I'm getting far enough direction right now that we'll go out for a RFP, we'll open it up and then hopefully get that process moving forward.
Councilmember Hogan?
Yeah, I think, sorry. Yeah, I think, and it's not just going to be parametrics and Wilson, it's going to be open. So anybody that wants to propose it, and right, request for proposals. And so that's gonna, then you get that, and then you award the contract for the engineering if you
Mhm.
accept the request from the proposal. So so we're gonna lose a couple months, you think at least, right? Okay, yeah, I'd like to see RFP.
Councilmember Torres.
I agree with Councilman Sproul that we need, parametrics needs competition, so we need to put it out for competition.
Councilmember Tracy.
In reality, if you look at this and what's put down, they've looked at the headward, I'm talking parametrics, and they previously designed the in-plant pump station. So in reality, when those bids come back, they should be substantially lower because all the other competitors are gonna have to design all that kind of stuff. So it's really gonna give a true picture of how they're coming in. They're gonna have to be real competitive on that side because they already know that. If they're gonna charge us again for it, they're gonna be more in line with what everybody else is bidding. So it'll give us an idea to see exactly what, I mean, that's my opinion, of where they stand.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, we go to AB 2663, Vehicle Fleet Maintenance and Repair Services for PD and PW.
For fleet maintenance, take advantage of some of the options that might be out there for us to save some money. And get a contractual arrangement with one of the OEM dealerships in the area. Unfortunately, we got only one response, and that response gave us basically a discount in parts, but not labor. So in reviewing of how the RFP went out, we were looking to reopen the RFP again and actually send directly to the dealerships. Right now, we used it to call the News Tribune for a way of announcing RFPs, and I'm not sure if that message got to the dealerships that are in the area. So ideally, what I'd like to do is open up the RFP again, send to the local dealers, do all up Sumner, Auburn, and then get them to bid on the service our vehicles and everything. So that's ideally what we're looking for. Just looking for a head nods from the council to go forward with it. And also another update, Administrator Wheaton has been looking to interlocal agreements with Bonnie Lake and Sumner for other fleet maintenance, like for public works that doesn't have that could be done by their maintenance departments, maybe for a little less. So we're looking at other options in interlocal agreements as well. But all police vehicles have a response ready standard that they have to make, and so if you have an OEM dealership doing that work, so we bid at $200 an hour. So
Any questions? Councilmember Hogan.
So you did get one proposal then, you said, and that was it from a private company? Dealership.
In the past, like I said, we contacted all of the certified dealers in the area and also certified maintenance shops. Like let's say Goodyear up on Meridian was a certified maintenance shop that did like fleet for the postal service. We notified them, all of them that would void our warranties and still make our service.
Right, that's a critical issue, right? This is the warranty void if you go just next door to your Billy Bob. Yeah. Okay.
We got trouble there before.
Yeah. So, okay. I'd like to see him resubmit.
Councilmember Tracy.
Well, you just said that you contacted all these other places, or you want to contact these other places.
We'd like to.
Okay, so you only went through the News Tribune.
We only went through the News
Okay.
Tribune and just isn't reaching the people that.
Right, I agree. I agree with Greg.
So
think we need
am I looking at the proposal that went out previously in the packet? So who in our council members saw the proposal that came back?
Came back or went out?
Came back. Well, I'm looking at item 4, evaluation of proposals. All proposals will be reviewed and screened based upon their qualification and requirements outlined in this request by a committee comprised of the mayor, council members, and city administrative staff. The
So-
mayor is saying that he's reviewed the proposal and he's rejecting it, but you haven't shared that with any of who you said you're going to share it with.
It hasn't been
We-
formally rejected yet.
Wh-
We are looking for.
But we haven't even seen it, so how can we say we're rejecting it and go out for another one without following what we say we're going to do?
Understood. We're in the middle of the process. We want to know if I think we're asking if we want. to
You're
continue
ahead of the
process,
game.
Or if we want to pause and look for more.
We,
proposals at this
we
time.
need to follow our contract, and our contract, that when we sent out this proposal, was the mayor, council members, and staff are going to review the proposal. Now, those 3 can come up with a decision and come back to the council and say, we reject this proposal. But we need to follow what we say we're going to do. And that's what it says in the contract. And the contract is everything. If we don't follow what we say we're supposed to do, then why?
With your, whatever meeting you like to have scheduled and then.
You can just pull in a council member. I don't care. And then have them review it and say, yeah, we totally agree. Let's go back to the staff and tell them this is what.
So we'll, have to do that, we'll set up a time to take a look at the contract.
Sure.
What the proposal is.
Councilmember Reed.
I think instead of stretch it out and make it so long, are you referring to what was in the newspaper that we need to follow, or what is council rules follow?
What was provided to any solicitor that wanted to?
Okay, so
that
we're
proposal-
protecting the solicitor, not the council.
We are protecting the policy that said that this is what we are going to do.
Right.
So
By a
we
certain
have
date,
not done that.
by
So
a certain date.
Could the previous person come in here and said, you didn't follow this because the mayor got up there and
Okay,
said. he
I'm
didn't
just
like
trying to
the
make this,
200
we're stretching things out way too far. Does the ad say that we'll do it by a certain date?
No.
Okay, so then we need to get more of a,
Because
because one's not enough.
And we could open it up and solicit more proposals and review that.
All at one time.
According to any government agency, if you go out for a public bid and you only get one back, that is enough.
Did we,
Because you allowed everybody to bid. But to go to a supplier and just say, give me a quote, like we just discussed, that is a sole source or a single bid. So we followed our procedures. Now let's just follow them all the way and say, let's review the bid. We'll have a council member, and the mayor can choose whichever, because it doesn't say who, but a council member, the mayor, and city staff should review the proposal. There's a grading procedure that they go through. And yeah, they say, you know what? We think this is wrong. We think we can get a better deal. So, but again, we just need to follow our procedures. That's all I'm saying.
So there's an also, which is, yes.
This is the proposal that went out, and it said this is how the evaluation of any proposal will be conducted. So we got a proposal back,
right, I agree with you.
and the mayor
There
has
is a date,
reviewed it.
there is a date in here.
But it says that the mayor, council members, and city staff are going to make that determination. Those individuals and their companies deemed most qualified will be screened further based upon reference checks. So again, we're not there.
Okay.
We got a proposal back, the mayor reviewed it, but the rest of, somebody else from the council has not reviewed it to say, yeah, let's go out.
Doing it, rejecting it, and then going out more bids. Whatever we need to do, I just felt that we needed to get more
Bids.
and more bids so we can have a better picture of what's out there. And it very well may be the best bid, I don't know. But I was just looking to get more bids. And, maybe the process might not be there to extend our bid period, open it up again.
Councilmember Tracy.
So the one bid we did get, did we have a contract with the company, prior to this
Yes.
to do our maintenance? Okay, and yeah, whoever, yeah, whoever, it really doesn't matter. Then we've gotten one bid. And evidently you think that it's too high, or you don't like how it was set up, or what's the specific reason you want to go for more? Just because there's only one?
I just looking at just that there's just one.
Okay.
And you know, I don't know, unless we get more engagement. We had a lot more engagement the first time that we went out to bid in 2015. We had many more businesses, but we had a different method of reaching them and notify them all that we were opening up an RFP. This just happened to be a time when we, you know, didn't reach out that way. So it was a lesson learned. So we'll go back and I will contact someone and we'll review it. And then you can all decide if you want to get more bids or to go with this one. I'm okay either way. So.
Any other questions? Councilmember Torres.
Yeah, I got a funny story to tell you. In 1984, I bid a job at the county city building, doing a crime lab, doing all their plumbing for them. And so I got a call from the guy that gave the contract out. He said, "Hey, you got the job." I said, "Oh, great." He says, "Was I the low bidder?" He said, "Yeah, you were the only bidder." Nobody else bid on it, so I got the job. So it happens. I mean,
You may want to stand there.
Well, hang on, what did we resolve? What did, I want
We need to, council, somebody on the council needs to review the proposal.
To do that.
Oh,
and then
okay. So
send
that's
it
where
Per,
we're at.
per what the, right.
So is it going to the study session then? Or-
It's going nowhere right now until,
Okay,
Council.
okay. I'm just trying to
AB.
stay caught up.
AB 2691.
So who's the most skilled mechanic?
who is it?
What's that
To
supposed to
look,
mean?
to look at it.
I am.
We only need one person. We should get it done and get it
No.
going instead of waiting another month again.
We have until the end of August to review and respond to the applicant. So if we do have someone who is volunteering and would like to review it, we can coordinate a date and a time to do that.
He just
It's
put his
a-
hand up, that's
yeah,
a
he-
volunteer.
He's
You may have never been in the
voluntold.
military, but he'll learn real quick. You stick your hand up, you're
Sorry,
in trouble.
he said he was the most skilled mechanic. I was talking about mechanical. Sewage treatment plants.
Nice run, your hand went up.
Yeah.
Your hand went up. His hand went up. He volunteered.
We could also have two review if we
So-
both really want to do it.
Oh,
It's sort of like, this is a learning process and you think you'd have it down after all these years, but anyway, I missed that one, so.
It's too
No,
bad.
no foul.
No, okay.
It's too bad we don't have any local
Select
mechanics
that.
that could work on our rigs. You know what? Local mechanics here in town.
I could read right
Well,
over them.
They're not
as
certified.
far as,
You don't.
really comes down to that warranty.
Pick up.
Oh, yeah.
And we got caught with that before, by utilizing, an uncertified local shop.
Okay,
And when we had a problem with the vehicle.
okay,
The dealership wouldn't honor it.
okay.
It's a big, yeah. That's a very good-
Before we take on AB 2691, the old city hall and facilities, let's take a facilities break for 5 minutes.
I love it when I
Good
was
idea.
guys in charge.
Come on, we've been here for an hour and a half
Yeah.
since our last break. 2 hours, 2 hours.
You drank 2 bottles of water.
I know.
Give you guys my special water.
Oh.
I think I will.
No.
I need one, that's not, thing that you,
Corey, are you the only one that didn't get to talk?
We're named.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just
not
more
my-
of a citizen.
And that guy meeting on.
The nice thing that we
Switch this. Yeah.
keep it the way it is. Many holes should be the other one. You throw all this stuff out and it all goes to the study session.
You know, it's disgusting. People that voted for the bridge will be.
Exactly. We'll see how many kids cross that bridge. How many times. They'll go over it like crazy.
With their skateboards.
Skateboards, rollerblades. They'll be running over people like you and me that are.
Then I.
Yeah.
Now.
It'll be
Oh, that rabbit's too much.
That crosswalk's on foot, we put two more in between.
Oh, remember, who was, the lawyer that was on the council?
Oh, Bradshaw.
Bradshaw. That was his big complaint,
Oh, yeah.
was that those crosswalks stop you when you're going to work. Traffic. And my proposal there was to train the cross guards, because one person walks up there and they cross them. Then another person walks, they cross them.
It's still faster
Make them
than
stand
the
there.
traffic signals were.
Yeah.
No matter what, you
Yeah.
could went across 5 times and the traffic signal still didn't slow the traffic.
I walk 2.5 miles to school. They can walk a quarter of a mile. Yeah. They're gonna go across somewhere and I don't know that it's gonna be the bridge or.
Probably still won't be the crosswalk, it won't be the closest way.
That's that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Where's the other cross?
And then it comes right down on the road. They gotta have something. like that.
There's gotta be fencing up there.
Has to be, but
Not serious. There will be.
you and I think there should
There
be.
will be before it gets old.
You know,
Yeah.
at first,
Well,
it was
not
like
necessarily.
fraction.
Before somebody gets killed, I'm about to put the ads up.
Yeah.
What's that?
Before we emptied all the kids out on the main highway there, we need to put the ads up.
Yeah.
Before the bridge opens.
Cause then, oh, this is a shortcut.
I don't know. I guess I still owe Dan a call and liability issues on that and.
We know we got some. But, you know, we'll talk to them, like the variance and step height, that's it, that's it. Easy.
There's variance and step heights on those.
Yeah. Not only in the steps going up, but from right to left.
Oh, from right to left, it does.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah,
We don't set a.
I'm telling you, it does.
Set a stairs that go into the convention center in Seattle, it's really, this side, that side, on a hill.
Yeah, well, that's what these are. They're not on a hill. It's all for drainage.
Right, yeah, I think it's drainage.
The, San Francisco Village has the same setup. In a walking thing. And it's been there for 100 years. But I don't know how many people.
You know, we could have a third bus with us.
Right. There you go. If you go straight to your house,
You should probably would.
but there, I think it was from right to left. I think it was one side was, yeah.
So much for me going through and finishing my deck.
Yeah.
I have to tell my wife, move me out of my meeting. I told my wife. I told Vicky this one was gonna be ours.
Had a few.
Yeah, well, it should be a short road, but man,
This one's gone down a little bit too. I tried lifting it up, it's got here. and wouldn't go.
Both hands.
Don't ever leave your house.
Oh, well. They said mechanics, you're a mechanic. You know,
I didn't raise my hand, no.
Does your lungs go
They
in
said,
there?
who was his best mechanic here?
In the chair?
Didn't you raise your
I
hand?
said, you know.
Just a matter of opinion.
And we go now,
You killed me.
going on AB 2691, city facilities discussion.
Deputy Mayor, if it's all right with you, we can put this off until study session.
Yay.
Yay?
Get in at the time, let's take it up to us.
What's it about?
Well, look
Well-
at it.
Okay, so Administrator Waitman's gonna, present, we had some options we want to bring forward, two of our facilities that we're looking at. One of them is on Kansas Street, the home that we were renting out. With the length of time that it's taken for the White Pump extension, go through, we don't know if it'll be, right now, it's most likely not gonna happen for 2+ years for sure. Even with our best efforts. And we have this property that's, seven oh four campus that we were renting out. And the renters are no longer in the home, so the home's sitting vacant. And, so what I'm looking for is in direction, I think it's, sitting vacant, we're not making any revenue off of it. If we were to rent it, we're gonna need to put some money into it, and it back up, put some staff time into it, and rent the home back out again. Or is it the desire of the council to demolish that home, maybe in the budget process with money in the budget, and then just leave the property vacant, but right now, it's becoming a nuisance in the neighborhood or on the street. And, just so looking for your desire and direction on that property, go forward with. And, so, questions on that?
Councilmember Tracy.
Why is it a nuisance?
As far as with maintaining it, I'm not speaking on overgrowing in the backyard. We haven't been, able to maintain it to the level of like a neighborhood, but we could continue to maintain it. I just felt that with given the time, and the condition that it's in right now, that, we should probably recommit ourselves to, either a rental contract or maintaining it or demolishing it or whatever we're gonna do, that property, but.
So,
Just seeking your direction.
so the prior renter was required to keep it up?
That's
So
correct,
that's the way the city
Yeah,
has it.
the renter went delinquent and, allowed the property to be run down. And so, we went in, we cleaned the property up, and now it's just been sitting vacant since then. When the Kansas Street upgrade, originally we were gonna drop the utilities from it, but I had them, reconnect the utilities just in the event that, you may wanna have the revenue from renting that property out for a couple more years.
Could be 5 words.
Why can't we sell it?
Because we're gonna use it.
Bought it for.
Need it for the
It's gonna
roundabout.
be The roundabout,
It's
Oh.
roundabout. no.
right, it'll be,
Sorry, I should explain that. That was the property that was purchased for the roundabout. Tear it down.
Councilmember Williams.
So how close to rent ready is it? That's the question.
That is the question.
I mean, is it in bad shape or could you rent it?
Well, I was looking at getting some guys once they got complete with this restroom restoration completion job. It's in need of some work, mostly cosmetic. We could have our public works director, take a look at it and assess it. But when the property owners, when the leasers moved out of the property, it was in, it's probably need paint, cleaning, and, a lot of, landscape work to bring it back to shape again. But that said, I mean, if you're looking at leasing it for several years, you might the return on investment may come back.
Councilmember Reed.
So it could be 2 years. Or it could be like a sewage treatment plant, they're gonna sit on it for a couple of years and it's gonna be 6 or 8 years before. So at 2,000 a month, that's 24,000 a year. We almost can pay for what we paid for the house we rented it out, even if we didn't have to put a little bit of money back into it. That's my thought.
Councilmember Tracy.
We're looking at the unified regional approach to homelessness. why couldn't we designate that as a temporary housing for homeless? And I'm serious. And, we have what, 300 and some $1,000 in the, account of that tax that's for the homeless can be put into that house. Not all of it. I'm just saying, if you're saying it's $24,000 a year that we're gonna gain on that, we can, yeah, approximately, whatever. Using those funds to upgrade it or whatever, and utilize it for that, put it in that category somehow. I don't know how it all work. It would have to be done. Tammy, you'd have to get involved. Push funds here and there or whatever has to happen.
Councilmember
Just an
Hogan?
idea.
What, did we have a rental management firm handling it for us? Okay.
Actually, in jail, it'd be the problem if that ugly. So we would see that, monitor that situation.
Let's get a different
Uh,
panel of.
yeah, well,
Company.
I mean, so a couple of things. One, we did look into acquiring housing in our ad hoc committee for people that were unsheltered. That's a nicer word. I'm just thinking of ex-council member Gunther, sorry. But you know, we're not in the business of managing people living in a house. So you got to find somebody to do it. And we went out and looked for people that do homes like that in the general area, Bonnie Lake, Enumclaw, Puyallup, and they all said no, they didn't want anything to do with it here. So you know, I want to know how much it's going to cost to fix it up, and then go from there, because I don't, if it's, you know, nobody knows what it looks like inside, right? So that's it.
So you're talking about like little paint, maybe, you know, not holes in the wall, and loosen doors, fix the restroom.
I think what's got to happen is has to be identified what needs to be done. So if you're talking about having the public works director go and take a look and, you know, it's going to take estimated, I'm sure, X amount of dollars, then we got to come up with the dollars. How do we come up with the dollars? Why do we come up with the dollars? All that will come out after that fact. Right now, we don't know. It's all up in the air.
I just wanted to bring it to you because in case your wish is to demolish it. Before we get there.
Well, that's going to cost a bunch of money too, just to do that. So,
So get some numbers for budget, so we can get some different numbers. I actually sought out somebody that, like, people that move home, buy homes for like $1 and move them to a lot. To be placed somewhere else, and so that's an interesting concept too, to try to avoid the demo costs, but I think you're right. We'll get some numbers back for you.
they buy it for $1 and it cost them 200,000 to move it.
Well, did we just put a new roof on that house? People guys saw a new roof on it.
Most of the work would be cosmetic. It's just mostly just cosmetic on the home. I've seen the pictures inside of it. Would be mostly cosmetic.
I think we need an estimate on what it takes to be rent ready.
But, okay, yeah, that's good.
Hey, Deputy, do we want to do an RFP?
Don't hold me. Oh, the hammer's getting. So the second item on the facilities is the Old City Hall. I've had a lot of interest in it, and we've looked at some options. It has potential for office space, retail space. That has potential to build a housing museum in the fire department side. It had a gas tank leak. The fire when the fire station was there, and that we still have some monitoring test wells that are in the property that are behind the multi-purpose center and in front of the building on Train. So anyway, some of the options that we've been looking at is trying to kind of minimize it, to divide the building to where we maintain ownership of the fire station side, to have for museum or have some jointly to work with the fire department to display Jenny and have a community type of a facility there. And then sell the other half of the building. We did get an appraisal on the facility. The facility appraised at $900,000. So that was I felt a bit of a lot for us given the condition of the building. So there's quite a bit of interest in actually preserving the building, and we have the opportunity to actually do something like that. Trying to minimize it or sell the building conditions. So administrator, we worked up a proposal to where they wouldn't obligate us to anything, but to kind of document that process of people that are interested in making some ideas with what would be done with the building and what they would like to do with the building, so that we could put up for sale that might kind of fit that type of a picture. So that's what we.
Thank you, Mayor. So the idea that we'd be asking for is a request for expressions of interest. So like the mayor said, we're not obligating ourselves and we're not putting out a specific project, because the only project we know of that's clear cut is just to sell the building. So this would be prior to that, figuring out what folks in the community are looking to do, if they have funds to move forward with the project, what their timeline would be, and what we could do potentially to preserve part of it if we wanted to open up a museum space or do something city-based. So that's the idea that's out there, is that we would drafted up a request for expressions of interest, and we'd like to see what's out there in the community, and hopefully separate folks from dreams and actual funded projects that might be on the table.
Councilmember Reed.
I think if it's appraised for $900,000, we should sell it.
Councilmember Torres.
Totally agree with Councilman Reed. Sell it, put the money towards our sewage treatment plant.
Councilmember Williams.
So if it was appraised at 900,000, do we, because it's public money or whatever, do we have to get 900,000 for it?
It's just
Okay, I say sell it. We don't need any more projects.
Sell it.
Councilmember Tracy. Well, I think I read in here, I read through this thing, and something about we're still tied in with Department of Ecology, I think.
The fire department side, and we would still be connected to the test wells, the monitoring wells that are out there for the contamination materials.
So is that?
So we would maintain that, and we would sell the other side free and clear, so that free. The idea is that I'm agreeing with both of you is selling the building, except with maybe some conditions. It might be a way that we can shape the way that it is transferred. The people that we've had looking into the building so far are open to preserve history, maybe bring some of the history back from the building. And so this would just be the first step to see what's actually out there for interest to bring back before you, for people that are interested in buying it, and then how we'd like that sale to look. So it would be sold with conditions. It would be sold with intent to be a beneficial use for the community.
So is that $900,000 estimate, or is the whole building, is that with or without attachment of the Department of Ecology?
Well, that would be with the detachment. I'm not sure how that would transfer over the chain of custody for monitoring those wells. But if they're monitoring those wells, that would make it maybe a little more difficult to sell.
Yeah, that's my point. And I know reading in here, we're working hard to get off the list, right? And I don't know what's that entails, but it would seem to me that before we make any decision on what we want to do with that thing, we want to get off that list. The 900,000, whoever gave that proposal or that appraisal, I don't know if it's with
that attachment or without the attachment, but I gotta think with the Department of Ecology set aside, if we can get rid of them, it's gonna make that property worth more money.
And so currently they're working on this building here, it's a similar situation as with this
Right.
building, and we're continuing to monitor it, you go through a long process of getting relieved of it. I had Kim Gunderson do research on the test wells that are there. I saw reports on them, they haven't tested positive for a number of years, but we haven't been pursuing that process, and we have not been pursuing that process of getting off of the contamination list.
So
So they're still currently being tested. The sites behind the library, in front of the Methodist church are being tested in the road right away.
Mhm. Okay. That's all I got.
Councilmember Hogan.
Well, I don't see any problem with putting out a request for expressions of interest. I mean, if they have a good plan and like Ryan said, put the money up, sell them the whole thing or let them figure out what they want to do. If they want to turn the fire station into a museum, let them figure it out and get grants for it. Yeah, well,
Personally, I feel like we owe it to the community. This is a historical building that turned 100 years today. Our first was our primary city hall for a number of years. Yes, I think that at least allow the community to give input, maybe opportunity to do something.
well, I would put out the request for, expressions of interest. Let it just see where it goes. Myself personally, I'd tear it all down and make a parking lot out of it.
5 stories.
We could do
Serious.
that. Thank you.
I feel like we need to deal with this building and it's been in a state of limbo for a while and we bring some of those options forward. Like you say, we could sell it as is right now, or we could sell some conditions, maybe give something back to the city like the original fire department for like a small museum or a tourist for Washington City.
Councilmember Williams.
Problem with a museum is it ends up being a liability. It costs you money just to keep and maintain it. I say liquidate it, take the money and put it into our infrastructure.
Right.
So,
One more question.
sure.
So are you saying that soil there is contaminated because of the gas tanks that were there or diesel tanks or?
Gas tank was, we
Yep.
did soil remediation right there in the early 1990s. We
Yep.
removed the soils, brought the soils out, treated them, and we applied it. The test wells that are in the street around it in the library still have been released from the Department of Ecology, so there's nothing on record right where the fuel tank was at because we remediated those soils. We're testing the soils that are in the road and behind the library and the sidewalk.
Okay, so you don't know yet how's that? The samples are coming back?
Yeah.
I mean, is it contaminated soil then, or you don't know yet?
No, the soil where the building actually is not showing as
Okay.
contaminated. But the plume went outside of the building and it went into the street and behind the library, so most likely we would still maintain the custody of test
Okay.
as well.
Got it. Yeah, thanks.
What are we gonna propose to make?
Well, I've got something to say on this, as usual. I thank you for bringing this to our attention. I had this on my list because as I was mentioning to you, I went through a lot of last year's agendas for CGA, Public Works, Public Safety, and I came across this. And it's AB 2505. So what I would like to do is have this one continued because this one says that we started this project in 2024 and council still hasn't made a decision on this thing yet. So, you know, let's keep our feet to the fire as much as possible because, yeah, I would say go out for whatever you want to do here, but I think like a lot of councils, you know, if we can sell it for, you know, $900,000
Or more.
or more, yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to bulldoze it and put in affordable housing, you know, the city gets revenue that way also. So, no, no. But, yeah, I mean, to go out for the request for quote, I mean, the building's still gonna be there, so, or whatever this thing is,
I mean, looking at this, I don't see where the council even, why are we involved in it? That they're in charge of the city. I mean, yes, we make a decision on that, but finding out information on a building, or if Historical Society comes to you, the CA, and says, we'd like to do something with that building, you usually don't bring that to us. You usually discuss that with them, don't you? Or wouldn't you? And get all the particulars and then come back to us and say, this is what they want to do. So to me, I don't know what we're approving or disapproving. I think they'll, you know, whoever they want to talk to.
Wait, I'm just sharing with you the conversations I've had.
Yeah.
It's an important part of our history. And I just wanted to get your input right quickly, and I think we're clear, so.
I think go out for it, and then when it comes back, I mean, then you might have the discussion with the city, like put something up on our website, like, you know, we've got this proposal, but what is the citizens, you know, I mean, I know there's a few that have very strong interest in this, but,
Huge.
oh, did it? Okay.
in the citizens, so. And I know personally from the Ryan House in Sumner, they lived that Ryan House, it was ripping advantage of that. I mean, it really divided the city. And so when you deal with historic structures, we should attachments, people have to, so. And we get a little bit more sensitive to that.
That particular structure has been remodeled and changed so many times that I don't know how much, you know, historical significance is left.
All right, now study this. Okay, thank you.
All right, I think we're on AB 2693 now. Is that correct? All right, so, our City of Ording grant policy, we had some folks in here, just recently, and I think what's happening is some of these, people that have come to us in the past are getting towards the end of what our policy currently, provides for, and you know, I mean, I think everybody's been looking, for these grants over a number of years, and I think everybody's basically in the same boat. I think the food bank, Harvest, I mean, the Haven, the senior center, they're all getting down on their fourth, fifth years and whatnot. So I think it really comes down to, do we want to continue this or do we want to change it? So by them coming here, I brought this back in front of the council to have this discussion and go from there. So I'll open it up for discussion. Councilmember Williams.
Well, these organizations that help the city or the citizens need help. They're not, the grant was originally set up for startup companies or startup organizations, and it was to diminish. But if you take a look at the senior center or the Haven, the senior center, their food bank, the amount of people that rely on that is unbelievable. And I mean, oh, Ray and Gail that come to all our council meetings, he goes around weekly and gets donations from Costco and Safeway and anybody that will give it to put it in the pantry to help our seniors that need it. The Haven helps the kids. We heard from Councilmember Morale on that and how much he's helped the Haven. And we saw them probably show more of a presence in his chambers than anybody else asking for the help. Yeah, I know the Recovery Cafe ended up with a bad apple in there and that went south, but the ones that are here, the food bank, I think it is our obligation to find it somehow to help them. I mean, you go up to Bonnie Lake and the city of Bonnie Lake, that's their senior center. They take care of it. But we also got to remember we don't have the resources Bonnie Lake does. But we got to figure out some way to help them and not have it diminish. They need it year after year.
Councilmember Torres?
I totally agree with the Councilman John, and if there's any way that I would like to spend money is on senior citizens and their programs, and the Haven, and the food bank. So any money that we have extra, I have no problem giving it to those guys here, right here in town. That's my opinion.
Any questions on this thing? Councilmember Hogan?
Well, I guess that was our whole intention. It's called a grant. It's not subsidy. It's just a grant to help them get started, nonprofits. Where do we draw the line? Remember when we had groups from the school district come and ask for grants? And then Councilmember Tracy is right. Where do we stop and start? Wrestling, football team, cheer, band. I mean, if there's a nonprofit in this community, we want to help them get started, but how do we select? We're not the Bonnie Lake, not the Sumner, who have a tax base that can be able to put up a facility and have it run and managed. It's just not going to happen here. You know, I don't know. That's my problem. Where do you draw the line? You know, the reason we went to this was because we were getting tapped every year and they were just kicking back and, you know, oh, next year. And that was the other thing, Recovery Cafe, that was funny. All of a sudden they didn't need grant money. Why? Because they didn't want us to look at their books. And then the next year they're jacking us. So I don't know. You folks decide how you want to run this. I'm done. I spent too much time on it the last time.
Councilmember Tracy?
I think what we need to do, I agree with you, Greg, on quite a bit of this stuff. I think we need to differentiate. I mean, I guess we could call it a grant program for, again, to look at the senior center, food bank, what was the other one? The food bank,
The Haven.
the Haven, that are really outreaches to our community, where the grant program, as I see it, correct me if I'm wrong, was there for a upstart business to get going. And yeah. And so I think if we differentiate that and call it something else for those three entities in the city right now, because they do need a lot of help. There may be somewhere where we can pull some funds to do those three entities instead of calling it a grant program. And again, yeah, Bonnie Lake runs their whole thing for senior center, but they have the money to do that. I'm thinking in the future, we need to separate them. Maybe still use the grant program for somebody that comes, but for those three entities that are there specifically to help the citizens, we should look at those three differently. That's my opinion. And then classify them as whatever. And then see where we can come up with the funds. That's always the hard part, is coming up with the funds. We put it in there, and every year it doesn't get any easier. We still got to break them down, but we're talking three entities in the city, so it might be easier to do it that way if we divided them.
And I think when I started council, I think that was the first year that we started paying them out of the funds for the current year. So when we approve these, it's so far at the end of the year, we have the finance director, letting us know that if we approve these, we're not going to go over budget, that we still have that within the current year's budget. And that seemed to be a better way, I think, to handle it, rather than to try to focus on today of what we're going to be able to approve next year. So, and then some of the wording in here, I really like. The city will prioritize requests received from groups and activities by those groups that serve seniors, youth, the infirm or disabled, and people in need within the city. So that kind of gives us that direction of where we're looking. Even the very first top line, the mission statement. The City of Orting supports the development of services and organizations which bring significant value to its citizens and which serve a public purpose. I think to your point, Councilmember Hogan, the school came in here, some band thing or something, they wanted $10,000 for some bleachers. I don't think that was a public purchase or purpose, because I can't go over and utilize that as a citizen, but I can go to these other places and utilize those services. So I think that's kind of where you start chopping this thing up and into what those organizations are. I think it's still on it's still the responsibility of these organizations to ask for. I don't think I want to go so far as to think that we will forever hold, funds for the Haven or the food bank or the senior citizens. They need to come in and fill out this and ask for those funds. And I think we've done a pretty good job, but I think other administrations, previous administrations, only looked at the dollar figure. When you look at the funding levels, they only said, well, they're only entitled to 4,000. They never told us what is 10% of their prior year's revenues. It was always just, they're only entitled to 4,000. That's what they brought to the council. And I talked to some of these entities, and they're like, well, if you had to give me 10%, it would have been greater than that. So why wasn't that considered? Well, it was never considered because it was never brought to council. It was they're only entitled to 4,000. So it could have been more. So we have to do a much better job of doing this. I don't think we should put a penalty or, on what they should be getting. I think even at one point, I think Councilmember Williams, Tracy, and Hogan, at one point, didn't you guys just get funds assigned to you, and maybe Councilmember Holland? Discretionary funds that you could give out as you saw fit. So I don't know if that's something that we need to entertain also. I wasn't around for that. I came in.
But also we gotta put, they have to show us the numbers. They got to show it, I know when they apply for the grant, do they show you what their gross income is? Do they say, okay, I made X, Y, Z money? And so, cause we gotta have somewhat to start. Somewhat to start. And you guys also gotta remember, the budget's getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
Mhm.
So who's you gonna cut and where you gonna cut?
Yeah.
Somebody gonna lose. And I love these things, but gotta realize where we gonna get the money from. That's the first question, where is it coming from?
And that's where I liked kind of where we went with, it comes out of this year's budget. And as we get down to the end of the year, you know, we look to our finance director to, you know, if we give them this much and this much and this much and this much, is that going to tip us over? And the 2 years I've been here, it hasn't, you know, and I think in other years, I think it came out of the future budget or something like that. So, you know, I don't know if that's clear in here, but that's kind of I think, how we fund these things rather than trying to set aside certain funds for the next year. So, but,
I think if anything on this is we move it to the study session because it sounds to me like we need to hash this out a little more. This is.
well, what I would suggest is that we bring it back to
Here.
this meeting because
Which is
the-
really a
I-
study session.
well, the study session, we only get an hour.
Well, yeah, aren't we discussing that here? in a
And
minute?
that's why we're here till 6. So we've already been here 4 hours and I've got no problem staying here till 8 o'clock.
Well, that's what we used to do in the study session.
Right, but the study session is only an hour now and that's coming up on our next agenda, so.
I know, that's what I said. I said that was coming up next.
So, we'll talk about that next. Okay, so let's bring this back to the council,
Council.
council of whole,
Community, yeah,
Yeah.
committee of whole.
community of whole, whatever it is, yeah, so we'll just, keep discussing this one, so. Thank you. Okay. AB 2694, also me. Discussion to determine the need to form any ad hoc committees like finance, council rules of procedure review, whatever we need. We have a lot of commissions, a lot of committees outside of this also that we are, we have seats on. I think, the city council or city clerk has sent that email out. She's got 2 responses back. Do you get any more responses back? So, do you not sit on a board for the NLC?
I sit on the board for, see if, what is it? I can't think of it. Maybe too long. It's something to do with, it's priorities.
AWC Legislative Priorities Committee,
Yeah, right.
and then NLC, and I wasn't sure if you sat on the other
Yeah,
ones.
Small cities.
Small cities.
Priority, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was on the small cities.
Not for you.
Right, yeah.
This is also something I believe we just started last year. At least what we knew at the time, including in our budget narratives. So being able to put together a spreadsheet and then relay that to the community and say, here are the other, regional representation that our council sits on, I think it would be good. So again, if anyone is sitting on any, I know there were some, I'm unsure if someone is sitting on the Pierce County Flood Control Zone District. I know that was a previous council member.
You replace that with the public works director.
Good to know.
And when you sit on the Puget Sound something,
Yeah, I sit on the PR or Puget Sound Regional Council.
Sure.
So I sit on their board of directors and then their operations. Yeah, operations.
Maybe you can resend the email, so.
Happy to ping that back to the top of your guys' inbox.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So, where this is kind of going. I mean, we had one for the housing, so we've got this $300,000. We had an ad hoc committee, set up. Some of those people are not sitting on the council today. So, is that something that we want to do? Because that will be in addition to any council meetings that we currently have. And, I know there was interest in the finance committee, previously. That was, Tracy, Hogan and myself. I think we did really good on that. Sitting with the director and going over that once a month and what was going on, and we'd take chunks of the whole budget, the whole year budget, and just kind of go through every month, kind of different aspects of that. And that was really, really helpful. And I would recommend that somebody stand that up. But
Budget, my intentions were the same process that we do, like we do with the rate setting. We put small groups of you and work through, make sure we get your questions answered. So that might be similar to what you're trying to accomplish with that off the budget side of it. Some difference.
yeah, it was a little bit different, but I mean, to really understand, because we kind of almost went line item by line item through that whole budget, but in a much more, because we started almost like January. So the budget was behind us, but then we got to see what we approved and kind of, are we really spending this money, so I think some of us have been to the training over in Wichita, or not Wichita, but Wenatchee, right, where they do the budget thing. But that's kind of a 2-day course, but it's very, very high level. This was really getting into the weeds with the city administrator and the finance director, and just kind of really seeing where and understanding what those were. So I thought that was good. But again, that would be for somebody to stand up if they want to. We had an ad hoc committee for the rules of procedures, council rules of procedures, and that kind of got a late start. And then again, council members moved on and left that, and we never really got a good, clean start on that. I know I've asked you a few times about whether you still have those other ones. You were going to look for other cities' rules of procedures and kind of, so what I'd like to see is like a council ad hoc committee sit down and go through those and kind of freshen them up. Some of our rules are outdated, and there's stuff in there I was reading that still talks about, I think all our meetings is still wrong. I don't know. Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Hogan.
I mean, we're still in the mayor's experimental stage, and like Councilmember Tracy brought up last time, things have changed, and
yeah, do we want to go back to the old way?
I mean, we need to look at that and look at, I mean, if this is the direction we're going, we need to change our rules of procedure. So that's something we got to look at. I think it's, that, how do you want to do that? Do you want to form an ad hoc committee and then give out, if we can find that stuff? I can't remember. I think one of them was Bonnie Lake, and I can't remember. The other one was the other one's up north somewhere. But council have an ad hoc committee and they start in on it, and then we could make suggestions to the council at study sessions, or and then go back and hash it over so we can get on the same page. Because I mean, it's up to us for our meetings. The only other thing I would suggest right out of the hat is, when we're doing study sessions and we got to get into regular meeting, why don't we just pause the study session and finish it after our regular meeting? You know, can we do that? I don't know.
Councilmember Tracy. Since we're on the subject, the elephant in the room. I personally, I agree with you, Greg, on, I mean, we're in a, what we're calling a committee of whole. To me, this is a study session. What we've done for, and again, the mayor's making this experimental change, which is fine. But it seems like a study session is, I mean, we can change the names of what we're doing, as easy as that. But a study session for us prior was we hash things out like we're doing right now. And when you go into a study session, when you're going to discuss it, we're moving all this stuff to study session. Then we're moving from the study session immediately to the meeting, the next meeting, which seems like we're bypassing some stuff. And I'm not sure we're getting all the information. When we had committees, two of us was on a committee, safety, public works, whatever. It was a hour or less meeting, usually, depended on which one you were going to.
Yeah.
But
CGA
we got a
was
lot
never an
more information in those. The whole council didn't hear it all necessarily, but that was the purpose of the committee, was to bring it to the council once it was put together properly in that committee. So then the committee said, now we need to move it forward to the study session. In the study session, we hash everything out. Oh, wait a minute, it better go back to committee. We used to send stuff back to committee a lot, and it would go back and hash it out and go back and go to the study session. When we were getting much more information that you brought up, for instance, and I've been on the safety and the GCA, the two. I have never been on public works, but you get a lot more information that you can bring to the council if need be on it. But now when we go into study session, we have to really rush through the study sessions because we got a meeting right after that. And it seems like we're cramming it. Like last time, we didn't have enough time to even go through the study session agenda. You had to bring up first thing here, which we're hashing out. I don't see we're doing it this way. We're cutting down on meeting time. That's, I guess, my bottom line. I don't see that we're having less meetings and getting more productive of what we're doing. That's my opinion on where we're at. And bottom line, that's what I think. I think we need to, personal opinion again, is get back to committees and then bring the pertinent stuff to the council when needed. That's it. That's all.
Councilmember Hogan. He did.
Oh, you go before me because I already went.
Okay.
But, you know, part of the problem that with the committees is, I get, it's not a problem. What we had to be careful because we're a fine line. We're not the bosses of the staff that we're working with in those committees. And I think it happened and it went into micromanaging, or also trying the, and it's not the first time it's happened in the last couple I've seen it happen multiple times where council members are trying to control whoever their committee they're on. You know what I mean? I mean, they're actually giving direction, which they're not supposed to do. But in the same token, it makes a big difference to me when I get to see the whole, you know, or not the whole staff, but the staff that represents public works or public safety or CGA, which I was, you know, people go, oh, I don't want to do CGA, but then when you get into it, it's very interesting. But, you know, it made us take a little ownership to that stuff. And then, when we came, we used to have trouble presenting. And so we would turn to staff in the council or the study session and go, and so it changed. We had a mayor said, no, you're the committee chair, you're the committee, whatever.
The voice.
You present the problem, and then if you got questions from the staff during the presentation, you do it. But if we're bringing something forward from that committee session, from the requests from the particular staff, then we take ownership. To me, it makes a difference. But you got to be careful. It's not, you're not mandating to that group, They're there to show you where they want to go. And, are you going to support it? Yes. And then like you say, no, committee, you're not ready to go. Take it back and get it right.
Yep.
But I don't know. That's where I enjoyed it. It was something, but
Let me just talk about what I saw this evening. I saw parametrics come here and give this whole body a presentation and an interaction of nearly an hour dedicated to where all of you were educated in the SCADA and telemetry for our treatment plants, for all of our utility systems. That was huge. Following that, I saw the Ording Business Association come before you and speak to all of you and connect. They built a relationship with each one of you. That would not happen on a committee. They would build a relationship with the person on that committee, but the rest of you would be left out. I saw a police chief come before you this evening and answer every question that all of you had. I saw a judge come before all of you, answer every question that you had and address that. And you cannot tell me that a committee member, a chair, is going to come back and give you that same impactful relationship that he had or she had back and convey that same passion back to you. That is huge that you're getting all that information. And if you only knew how much work we have spent trying to make sure that you guys are informed, an incredible amount of work. I urge you not to throw the baby out with the bath. There's a lot of pluses that are happening. You can address individual ad hoc committees. That's great, but we can make this work. And I do see the study sessions. When I originally proposed this to you, there was no line at 6 o'clock. I was given wrong information from a person that put some false parameters on us that became an ordinance that we had to abide. And it was constraining. It didn't make sense from day one. I went back and I said, this does not work. We get a new clerk. She came on and she asked the same question. Why are you doing this? And I have an attorney. Why are you doing this? And you go to Vancouver, you go to other cities that do a study session beforehand. And it's just basically the first meeting, the first part of a meeting, an opportunity to talk about topics that you don't have to vote on. And that's all it is. And we kind of morphed it into something a little bit different, but I think that there's a value in it. And I think that seeing you guys talk as much as you have, by the time we get to the business meetings, they've been going pretty darn good. Usually by the time we get to the business meeting, you guys have already come to a conclusion, or I should say, have all the information that you need, and you've been making decisions. I think I'm worried that if we go back to the committee, is what Councilmember Hogan pointed out, we open up ripe opportunities for inappropriate relationships to be happening in relationships between council and staff, and we're diminishing the level of information that's coming to you. If you want more information, I can get more information. If we want another committee of whole meeting, we can have another committee of whole meeting. We can do that and make them shorter, but it's up to you guys. But I think there's a lot of value in having all of you get the same information, having a fire chief come here and speak to you. I have you all in one room all at one time. There's a lot of value to that. And I just urge you not to throw the baby out with the bath. And that's all.
Councilmember Williams.
So our study sessions, if we converge that all into one meeting, then we shouldn't be limited to have to stop in
Exactly.
the hour. We should be able
Exactly.
to
15
discuss, and
minutes
when
over.
we're done discussing, then we move on down the
Exactly.
agenda.
We just open the meeting, and the first part of the meeting is just a study session. And you can just talk about topics that don't need to be voted on that evening, or if you decide to add it to the agenda to be voted, you could do that. But we could eliminate that line with the time adjustment and have it disappear.
Why don't we rename it from study session to just
City
open
council meeting.
discussion?
Yeah, open discussion. That's exactly what we used to do. Open discussion. Yep.
Well, don't,
No. Councilmember Reed had his hand up. so.
Thank you. By having the meeting of whole, it got changed that way because it was going to be during the daytime when the staff could show up, or whoever wanted to show up from a business could show up. And I don't think the number of people that showed up tonight, if they were coming after we got done with our regular meeting to speak to the group, I don't think that many people would show up. It's their job to come during the day and explain something. They didn't get elected, they're hired. We volunteer to be here, so I think we should keep the meeting of the whole, but I think, like everybody's saying, there should be some changes here to make it work better.
Councilmember Webb?
Would it work better if we did it first thing in the morning?
Councilmember Tracy?
what first thing in the morning?
8:30?
No.
Oh, committee of whole.
Oh, I don't think time has anything to do with it, personally. Early in the morning, you're probably gonna eliminate some of the people that can make it more than in the afternoon. They could come in any time. I think it may be no more than changing names. I mean, when you say like the study session and then a regular meeting, just make it a regular meeting. What, I mean,
You're
to
right.
me, a study session, you're studying it, you are hammering it out, everybody's talking about it, which is basically what we're doing here.
Yeah. So what Councilmember Williams stated was another name, same end road, just open discussion, first part of the meeting, it's part of the city council meeting.
Well,
Yeah.
don't we set the agenda for the study session? Aren't we setting it when we're here? We set the agenda for that study session or for that meeting or whatever it is. We set that agenda from right here, right? So whatever we said, let's move it to study session, let's move it to the next meeting, which is the 26th, which is the meeting after the study session. We're moving it to that. We're either saying consent agenda or we're staying standalone, right?
Yeah.
So
Or you
it's
can
just
say-
the next regular meeting. Don't even, I mean, we don't have to call it anything because we still, if we put it in there as standalone, it's under discussion.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss it before it actually goes. If it's consent agenda, if we're all pretty much set on what it is now, it's going as consent agenda and boom, it goes through. So just sending it to the next meeting is, to me, the way to go. You don't have to call it anything. It's a council meeting and we have the agenda already set.
Yeah. And I think there's value in having that open discussion portion because there's topics that are coming up mid-month or late month that are, you know, an opportunity to introduce something to you before it goes to committee of whole and talk more about them, public concerns that came up. So I think that's an excellent way just to relabel it to open discussion items and before new business and before old business type of thing. If there's things that came up midstream or presentations we need to make.
I have a question.
But I think that could be a category within the regular meeting.
Yeah, exactly. with
So
regular meeting.
we could start the regular council meeting at 5.
Yep.
And it has the items that we've moved from here to there. And then if anything comes up, you could have a new business discussion or something that this is coming up and you're probably gonna, we can talk about it briefly here and
Exactly.
so,
I mean, you're exactly right. Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yep.
Right.
We got off on the wrong foot by putting that 1 hour mark on it.
Yeah.
That's what really excited us.
That's easy.
Yeah, just have it fun. Right after study session, the meeting will start for regular council meeting. So the study session lasts 2 hours, it's 2 hours. Right after that study session, we go into the meeting. So it's a running time.
It's just a meeting.
It's just a meeting. We don't need
And
to
you can call it
separate
what you want. I'm just saying.
because the agenda is going to tell you what you're going to
Yeah.
do.
Right.
Yeah, and we could,
So we can actually vote on something, whether it's at a regular meeting or meeting both, because they're all televised now, right?
No.
this is just for information.
This is information.
Online
yeah.
information, on a regular meeting, so it doesn't matter what you call
Regular meetings where you
Well,
can vote.
You could call
That's
this
what it
a
is.
study session now,
Yeah.
rather than
that's
the
like that
committee
meeting.
of whole, because acronym doesn't really work, but,
So we're not changing it a whole lot, we keep this meeting. But we're gonna change and
well, that's what we're still discussing, so, there's other things that, again, I went through the agendas from last year for CGA and for Public Works and that stuff, and this is what I was talking about, Chief. What I'm not seeing, and I told the mayor before the meeting, how many calls of service for July? All that information, what's our trend for the year? That stuff is so important to, I feel, this council. Why are we hiring two police officers? Show me the statistics. What's our average response time for a call for service? This is what we used to see last year, and that's what I would like to continue to see. What was presented tonight for the police chief, I've got no other word but fluff. It's like, feel good, but I want to see what's going on in our city. I want to know how many mental health contacts, how many displaced people. This is the stuff that tells us as a council, do we need more people? Do we really need this ad hoc committee for the homelessness? Do we really? Because otherwise you don't see it. And, that stuff is feel good. I mean, you can actually put that in there, but the stuff that I want to see is how is our police doing with our citizens? Are they being serviced? How long is it taking to get there? Again, are you having to take people out, to Tacoma for homeless, in-service training hours? That costs the city to train those officers. Are we hitting that mark? We used to track that. So, and you did a very good job of doing that, by the way, very good. And, when you listed all those service calls, what they were, and what was happening in our city, that was so much information. And some of these members, they've never seen that, and I would like to get back to some of what we were doing in the past in these committees and bring that forward, and that's where I found out, like what you were talking about, the old city hall. I printed this out, I said, oh yeah, what's happening with this? Because it kind of fell through the cracks because those committees all dissolved, and they dissolved so fast that we never really went back and pulled some of that information. One of the other items that I had here, the Safe Streets for All Safety Action Plan project has kicked off. We're in the process of filling advisory committee members and aim to have a council representative as part of the advisory committee. Where are we on AB 25-80? This is something that, again, Public Works was working on.
That project's complete.
So,
Safe Streets for All. I know now it's in a different phase right now. Yeah.
but we don't know. So, I'm going through and I'm pulling stuff and it's just kind of like, okay, it's, I think the other one that we were talking about was the, safe parking. And we were going to.
You all turned that one down. That was
129 update for this year was staff are asking council if we continue to discuss at CGA. We don't have CGA. Move forward to study session for further review. Or, did we kill this or did we just kind of, we killed it? Okay. So those are the things that I was kind of coming through. So also the minutes, January 7th, what's alarm summary? I think I think that was just brought up in this presentation about all the alarms. And were we doing something? I've never been on the public works, so.
Deputy.
Council member.
Yeah, there was, at a time they wanted to see a list of all the alarms, although, the alarm, some of them weren't critical. They just said, hey, you need to look at this or whatever it was. But it boiled down to if they published all our alarms, it gave somebody from the outside a good idea how they could get inside, is what my understanding is. It was actually a security issue showing all the alarms. So that's why it just.
Well, we heard tonight from parametrics that our
Right.
system is very not on the cloud or anything else. So I would challenge that one after what I heard today. So I'm just saying, some of these things that these councils were working on were never, ever brought forward. We dissolved them, but we never said, well, what were they working on and should we continue these forward? And Councilmember Williams.
Yeah, and I think what Deputy Mayor Sproul's trying to say, and I agree with it. Actually, Corey's been over there, and if we're having a committee of whole, we need to have him give us an update on problems, accomplishments, everything of Public Works, so we know.
You're correct. We skipped over him in the staff report. Inadvertently, he got lucky. He got a mulligan this time. But the next meeting, he will be front and center speaking about what happened in Public Works.
Oh, I'm sure he's just sitting there saying, what the hell am I doing here?
Keeping a seat warm.
So only thing I can tell you is that as your mayor, I am doing the absolute best that I can.
You are.
Every information, and I cannot get everything. I honestly cannot see everything that we've done over the past. I can only focus on what you guys are letting me know and what's coming before us. And I'll just try and do better. So.
Well, that's what this topic is about, dialing it in. It's no one's,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
They gotta go to you and say, we need this.
Yeah.
You don't know what they want. So
Yeah.
what you want is detailed reports.
Yeah.
Now you know. So
Now we know.
now I know I can get.
We'll
those
we'll
reports.
get them to you and get that information up the next time.
I think if you and I were on the safety committee. I know John's been on a public works committee. Stanley was on public works or CGA.
He was on CGA.
And Greg on CGA. Talking with those specific groups, public works.
Did all three.
Yeah. So they have I agree with Deputy Mayor in those statistics to see that, because now we can go to the rest of the people. I mean, if he gives us those statistics, all of us, then we can all see it. It might be a good thing for us to go to you and say, we would like to see these statistics by the chief or by the public works director. I would like, this is what we used to see and what we really work through. And go to those
Yeah.
committees that have had, I haven't been on public works, so I don't know
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
you know.
Well, one of the items we've been working on just the last couple days is the reporting from their Brightly Asset Management on work attainment, predictive, corrective, overtime, getting all those reports out in a readable, so you can look at just a graph and see our overtime is up, our corrective maintenance is up, our attainment is down, work. So you can make a legitimate decision when it comes time to hiring another person or adding on to staff. So I'm trying to get that for you. Hopefully we'll get something for you, but we do know that the police has that dialed in and we can get that information right away. So.
Yeah, well, you don't need to beat
Yeah.
yourself up
Yep.
too much, you know, I think, personally, I think we all think you're doing a good job and you're very open to the public, so that's all good stuff. We're seeing it and they're seeing it at the same time. So I like all that process for sure, and I think most of us feel the same way. So don't beat yourself up.
All right. So can we vote on the time?
Yeah.
Can we drop that 6 o'clock? You know, I mean, get that on the agenda for next meeting to eliminate that artificial time at 6 o'clock and,
7
you know.
o'clock?
yep.
I mean, we're still gonna start at 6, right?
Still start at 5, but we
Oh.
just, it's just. the
It's just a
council-
meeting. Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
meeting.
It's council.
No,
I
that's-
think we would need to double check with Dan, only because we have it in an ordinance, it's in our code saying that those are our start times, and I'm not sure how we would need to, without passing another ordinance,
Yep.
what steps we would need
Yeah,
to take
no,
to.
we have to pass
go
another
around that.
ordinance.
Yeah.
We have to have another ordinance created, reflecting the times,
Mhm.
and then we can get it onto the agenda, for that.
So I
that
just,
meeting.
I don't think the next meeting we would see those changes, but we can start drafting.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify.
Great, perfect. And then if you wanted, I don't know, Stanley, you'd mentioned and Greg had mentioned, you know, a daytime, an earlier in the day, as an option that might, I mean, the committee meetings, plenty of them used to be at 9 a.m.
Yeah, cause most people
Yeah.
have to be to work by 9,
Yeah,
so they could be to this committee meetings at 9.
yeah.
That's
I'm
when
fine
we've
with that.
had most
Yeah.
of them,
And
or
most of
9
them,
o'clock.
They work at 9 o'clock anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Now, they started at 8, don't you guys usually start at 8? Well, I mean, that's. what-
Staff, you mean
Yeah.
staff?
Yeah,
Right.
staff, give them an hour to make sure they don't have a 911 going and then start the committee meeting an hour later or whatever you want.
Yeah.
I think 9 o'clock would be better, because a lot of the council members said 2 o'clock is kind of midday and the days are.
Clears everything out.
Yeah. People at work, you know, we got to take the day off because. it's 2 o'clock.
We'll have to
9
rotate.
o'clock is gonna be midnight.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll need to rotate who brings coffee though, so.
Okay, we'll start with you.
There you go.
What do we call in that meeting? What time's it gonna start?
Well,
I
that's
mean,
all, we can't do anything.
I mean, we're just deciding those,
Well,
so.
I think this meeting, rather than the community of whole, should just be the study session.
And it's gonna be the middle Wednesday between the other two.
Yes.
And
it was stay the
And
same.
it's gonna start when?
9.
9.
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
They'll supply donuts and.
So at 9 a.m., 9 a.m. study session, same stuff. Different name,
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
yeah.
Yep.
And Danielle, we're gonna check with Dan and see,
Yeah.
in order to make that change.
Yeah, it'll be an ordinance coming.
Just so, if you don't mind, if I can give you what I'm tracking, just to make sure I'm tracking it the right way. Ultimately, we want to remove the secondary start time from the regular business meetings and just have a one start time. It sounds like we want to add an open discussion or a round table or something along those lines as an item.
Front end, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then this meeting on the third Wednesday is going to be starting at 9 a.m. That's going to be called study session. Correct? Perfect.
Don't forget the coffee and donuts.
That is important.
I mean, what you really call it, I mean, we call it a study session, but yet we're getting all the committee information at
Yeah,
that time. And at that time, we're trying to digest it also.
Yep.
And
Instead of just getting it.
I think that,
Yeah.
to his point, I think that's why he called it the committee of whole,
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
all the committees
Yep.
combined
Yep.
into one.
Right,
but-
I understand that.
Right, whether we call it that or study session.
We're just not putting it off to a study session. We're hashing it out right now.
Right?
Now-
Exactly.
Now, I'm just thinking out loud here, but like the staff reports, I mean, is there a different meeting to do that? Because it seems like we got a lot of stuff here. And, you know, the staff reports also take up, you know, an hour to get through all those. So,
That was kind of interesting too, because I know we had them written up for you so you could see, you could read them if you wanted to. You know, that would be interesting to talk about. You know, I like the idea of like police chief speaking, works, you know, speaking.
Well, couldn't we do the staff reports at the very beginning of the committee of whole or the study
Just,
session?
yeah,
Start
oh,
the
yeah,
staff
yeah.
reports right at
Right.
9 o'clock so
Yep.
they can get in the door,
Get in
out
and
the
get
door
out.
and back
Yep.
to their jobs.
Yep, that'd be perfect.
But
Yep.
don't, you get things to read, so it should be read only, you read it, you have any questions when he's up there, like chief up there, we know what he's gonna talk about. You got questions for him, you have any questions for the chief, oh, no, we're good, you move on. If you got questions, just get the questions out, then have him go through the whole report, you know, it takes a while. I'm not saying it's, you know,
Yeah.
short report, but you read it, read it, it's like, he has questions, so the question is, okay, when that staff person stands up there, hey, I got some questions, ask the questions. Don't have them go through the whole staff report, then you must start asking questions, get them out right away. Do your reading, you need to read it. Not easier. And even sometimes, even once you read it, you might have a question, you can see it the sky up to Ryan, hey, I have a question. That way he can get to it, and get back to you.
This is the eraser.
hey, Chief, I do have a question for you. One of my notes here, the single county-wide communication system, we gonna get another invoice from them this year that we deny?
Usually in different sizes.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure we put it in there.
Apply to that bill again. And so I said, hey, one of you's gonna have to come in and explain this to council because, you know, their position is that this should be paid by 10%. And it's gonna take somebody from the county to explain why you're wanting more money, to have them change their mind. So we're kind of right there right now.
Okay.
When we talked just a couple days ago, so.
Yeah, that was one of our items and it's like, yeah, whatever happened to that? It's like, or we gotta see another invoice, so, okay. Everybody good here?
Whatever. It's a good
We
start.
kind of got
Oh,
off track.
so we gotta go back to Dan and find out, or get a resolution to
Yeah,
change
I think
some
we
of
would need
these.
to draft an ordinance tracking any changes that you guys want. We'll present it to you, make sure it reads how you'd like and go from there. I do have one clarifying question though, before you adjourn the meeting. AB 2694 ad hoc meetings, is this something you want to bring forward to the next committee of whole or study session meeting for?
I would bring it back to the
This.
community of whole or study session or whatever. We're
I just want to make sure I'm tracking that. Thank you.
There's a plug-in.
No, that's it.
No, there's two different bid sizes.
I got a question here, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
3.
I got a question for you,
Is there nine?
Scott, Mayor.
Yeah, you said-
So after all the discussion we had about
The supply place.
the old city hall, and you felt the pulse of the council here,
Can buy all kinds of
majority, I think it was the majority that said sell the building.
offices.
Are you going
People.
to
Uh-oh.
expedite? Are you going to expedite the sale of the building now, or are you
Yeah,
going to
that's the
keep?
direction I'm getting
Maybe
from
dollar
you
store.
guys, so it'll go to,
Yeah.
probably undo an agenda bill to surplus the building or to put it for sale, just to have a vote. And then that's where it would go.
Okay. So when we keep dragging it on, so. it'll-
No,
Okay,
yeah, if
All right.
if that's the direction that you all want to take.
I thought we discussed that CA would look at some other possibilities before we actually did that.
Oh, maybe I was
Because-
missing you guys,
because
because that's
We,
what we were
didn't we
actually
talk
asking
about
for.
some people that were interested in making it this or that, whether they have the funds to do that, which would be part of the sale, which would be
I
part of
think
the sale.
yeah, just weeding out the
Right.
actual serious players.
right.
As long as they got the
But I
money.
think Ryan was gonna look into that or something. Isn't that what we talked
That's
about?
what I was hoping.
Okay, Well, I'm happy with that then. We're great.
Thought we talked.
We'll
Yeah.
put it out. We'll get some feedback.
Yeah, put it out, see what you get, and then come back and.
It's not like, it's not like this had to happen overnight. 'Cause It's been there for a little while, so we're good. Yep, we're good.
They don't want
Yep.
no money, they want you.
Okay.
So that took care of AB 2695 also,
Like
right?
now it said, "You guys are out of town.
Okay,
What's your name?"
so,
And Councilmember Hogan
95.
volunteered to be
Okay.
on our review for the RFP.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then also for the meeting times discussion, I was going, just for ample time, are you guys okay with bringing it back to the next committee of whole meeting? So Dan has time to put an ordinance together? Or are you looking to see that on the next regular meeting?
pardon me?
For the draft ordinance that we're gonna have Dan do for meeting times, that is going to the next committee meeting, is that correct? Just so
Right.
That we have time to work
Yeah.
on it. Perfect.
And then I've got one question about the approval of the minutes. It said that motions passed 4-0 on two items, because we really don't vote during these meetings. One was to excuse Councilmember Tracy, and the other one was for the adjournment. Does my vote not count?
Typically on like commissions and council meetings, the chair's vote doesn't count unless there's not a quorum and they need to vote.
That was my only question. So, the meeting, I'm okay with the minutes as presented.
Did, I got a question.
Sure.
Did I miss Tammy's presentation from the staff? Or did?
It
We're
wa-
not
it-
gonna have, Tammy's been sitting there patiently waiting and put this little thing out to us, and somehow I think she got missed, but maybe we put it off to the next one. I don't know. That's-
It wasn't in the staff reports. We didn't have a,
You got one of those, didn't you?
yes, I did. I was talking about the,
Okay. I think it might have been, but
My wife's.
Whatever.
My wife's got dinner ready and she's got me hot down.
do I hear an adjournment?
Fine, hall.
make a motion to adjourn. Wait a minute, we didn't vote on it.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye. All those opposed?